Is it time?
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
We'll see what happens. We'll know in a very short period of time, but it looks like it could be something that will be not good. Believe me, not good.
I am a dissident.
Don't move. Move.
I'm saying no. Why you hear Palantir, 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 Palantir? It's not going to be stopped.
Seriously, we need to release the F scene list.
Turns off.
I am not a church boy.
Turns off.
They're full-on vampires.
They hate our beef. They hate our beef. They hate our beef because our beef is beautiful and theirs is weak.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
Hello, dissidents. Welcome, one and all, to a Sunday evening edition of the Do Dissidents podcast. Keaton Weiss here with Russell Dibular, of course.
Hello.
How is everybody doing tonight? Pleasure to see you all here. What we got? We got 947 strong in the YouTube chat. Almost a full 1,000 to start us off in the YouTube alone. 452 filing in over on Rumble. Great crowd here. Great to see you all. Thanks very much for being here tonight. Please smash that like button to get an even bigger crowd in here. But of course, make sure you are all subscribed up, both on the YouTube and the Rumble, and over on Spotify. Important too. If you're listening on audio, hit that follow button wherever you get your audio podcast. Now, I've crossed the 1,000 viewer threshold in the first 60 seconds of the show. That ain't too bad. Not too shabby. Thanks, everybody, very much once again for being here this evening. I hope you all had a fun couple of days without us. We got a lot to get to. I know Russ had a little fun time over the weekend.
Oh, yeah. You know, I should have put the picture in. I didn't even think of it. See, we got so tied up covering the news.
Yeah.
Katie was nice enough to invite me to her Martini Maker's vocal performance of John Brown songs and news articles, kind of an interpretation. Yeah, had a collaborator who composed it. That was at NYU. Then there was a reception at Katie's parents' house. Very, very cool. Very cool. Very interesting time. Good time was had by all.
Yes. And Katie posted on, Katie Halper posted a couple days ago, or was it yesterday morning, the sudden and tragic passing of Assad Haider, great scholar, academic writer, who I came to know of through Katie Halper's show, oddly enough, years and years ago. And way back in the audio podcast days, I did one interview with him. It was about 40 minutes long. So that is a big loss. He was a brilliant guy and a very funny guy. And so, rest in peace to Assad, it's funny. I had just thought of him randomly, like last week, because I hadn't heard from him for a while. Just not that I knew him personally, but I hadn't seen any of his stuff in a long time. I'm like, what's going on with him? It's just one of those crazy things. So obviously, that's a sudden and terrible.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, really terrible. Really terrible. Very sad. Very sad. It was totally unexpected, and he was a young guy, and so that's really awful. So, just thought I'd make people aware because he didn't have a big online presence like many in this space do. And so, if that name rings a bell, that is from a ways back. But that was pretty awful to see. So, just wanted to say a word about that in case you guys missed it.
Yeah, and Katie was pretty close with him.
Yeah, she put it. That's how I found out. I found out from her X feed. So pretty awful. Okay, how's my internet? Coming through good? All right. We had a little bit of a tech issue before the show today, but it seemed to be good. Knock on wood for now. All right, everybody. Well, thanks once again for being here. Appreciate you all. Let's jump right in. We got some follow-up stories tonight. This is somewhat of a sequel show. We have a few follow-ups on some ongoing dramas. The first of which is the Chronicles of Miss Rachel versus Stop Antisemitism. So Miss Rachel, fresh off her nomination for Anti-Semite of the Year, posted the following. The Stop Antisemitism Now group should not be able to ruin people's lives, cause them to receive threats and need security, try to get all business partners to drop them, accuse them of a serious crime, parentheses being paid by Hamas, and get news to cover it with no evidence. Remember, she was asked by the New York Times about that, even though it was an accusation made with absolutely zero evidence whatsoever. I have 2 kids who shouldn't have to deal with the consequences of this. Remembering my son accidentally overhearing us talking about my safety and then him crying, wanting to hold my hand all night, scared something would happen to me. This has taken such a toll of me and my family, and all I've wanted was to help kids. So this is screenshotted from her Instagram. She's not really active on X. She's active on Instagram, like most healthy people are.
Yeah,
and
can't really blame her.
Yeah, and like most healthy people, she does not, take pride in being named Anti-Semite of the Year. Not that there's anything wrong with those who do, but, Miss Rachel is a normal person. They're like, no offense to everybody else in this space, and I include myself, we're not normal. She's a normal person. So when she is smeared in that way, she reacts badly. And not only does
Guilty
she react...
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Not only is it taking an emotional toll on her, but of course... with smears like that come threats from lunatics. And, this happens. This is a widespread problem in the space. Tim Pool said he just had somebody roll up on his property with a firearm. There was somebody who was just arrested for making credible threats against Benny Johnson and Matt Walsh. And all of that is awful on all sides. It's just a crazy unraveling world that we live in. But organizations like Stop Antisemitism really are as unhelpful as they could possibly be. So Lauren Witzke tweeted this out with some commentary. Miss Rachel, who was accused of being an anti-Semite simply because she raised money for burned and amputee children in Gaza, puts out a statement calling out Stop Anti-Semites for what they have done. She is now receiving death threats. They are trying to get her killed, all because she embarrassed Israel by showing love and care to Gazan and Syrian babies who had survived Israel's atrocities. Stop Anti-Semites is a vile group and needs to be held accountable for this. So some of the people in the comments here, Jake Donnelly, who we're going to hear from again in a little bit, says it's got more to do with her platforming those who revel in the murder of children while she herself is a children's entertainer. Platforming those who revel in the murder of children. What are you even talking about? She does a kids show. The consequences of her actions. You sadistic.
So sick.
They're just sick. You sadistic freaks will be held accountable.
Exist? Do they exist, or is this coming from a bank of phones on a wall?
Well, Jake Donnelly is apparently real, as we'll get to in a little bit. As for Matt Inslee, I am not sure. So Lauren replies to him, you sadistic freaks will be held accountable by God someday for your crimes against children. So Bethany Mandel says she platformed the people who cheered her death and offered her condolences in private, referring to Miss Rachel messaging someone, "I am so sorry to hear about your aunts." This is Tamer Glezerman. She is an Israeli peace activist based in New York. She says, "I'm an Israeli peace activist, and Miss Rachel reached out to me after our October 7th vigil to express her condolences for the loss in my family. Painting her as a Jew or Israeli hater is lazy and paranoid. The problem is, in her words, it's over 18,000 dead kids." So then Bethany Mandel, the one who was it Brianna who asked her to define woke and she totally imploded? This is the Bethany Mandel. Says she platformed the people who cheered her death and offered her condolences in private. They're referring to some like Palestinian who Miss Rachel had on her show once. So we'll get more into that in a little bit. But Blakely says, "You're literally a genocidal psychopath, opinion dismissed." Yeah, here is Bethany Mandel. This is back in 2014. So this wasn't the 2021 flare-up in violence in Israel-Palestine. This was the 2014
I remember this.
war. Bethany Mandel says, "Not nuking these fucking animals is the only restraint I expect. And that's only because the cloud would hurt Israelis." Okay, so you are reveling in the murder of innocent people by definition, right? I mean, that is what you are saying right there. Okay, so what about people who platform you guys? Like, this is the question I have. Okay, so she platformed a Palestinian. Who knows? You can't vet every word of every Palestinian that you have on the show. And who cares, frankly, who that person was or what they've said in the past. But the point is, what about people who platform people like Bethany Mandel for having made those kinds? like, where's the outrage there? Oh, no, they're allowed to go wherever they want. It's not a crime to platform them. But Miss Rachel has to be careful who she platforms on her children's show, even though they don't talk politics on the children's show. I know that because I have 3 children who are all Miss Rachel fans. Eve Barlow comments, "This is a blood libel. It's that simple. This is a blood libel," referring to Miss Rachel's post, "Wanting kids to live isn't anti-Semitic." That's a blood libel. You can't make this shit up. Like, you literally can't make it up. It's that simple. If you don't understand why, you don't know the first thing about Jew hatred. Well, I guess I don't know the first thing about Jew hatred. I guess no sane person does, because no sane person sees that as a blood libel. So this is what she's dealing with for this reason. So she puts this brief video out. "I never thought I'd go on TV and beg for children not to be intentionally starved, and that would be controversial." A quote from Ms. Rachel.
TV and beg for children not to be. I never thought I'd go on TV and beg for children not to be intentionally starved, and that would be controversial.
See, she's not a political person, so she didn't really realize that how controversial it would be to go on TV or on Instagram and say a prayer for the children of Gaza. She was really, I think, genuinely blindsided, unlike a lot of us who are like political first and foremost when it comes to our like professional lives. I think she was really taken aback by how controversial that would be, but that's a reality check. So here is Piers Morgan hosting Anna Kasparian, Hen Mazig, and Jake Donnelly. Jake Donnelly, who is apparently Jewish. Donnelly doesn't sound very Jewish to me, but he's a Jewish guy. He's one of the guys whose tweets we read way back. Piers Morgan poses a question to Anna Kasparian. "If it was a children's entertainer who was pro-Israeli, what would you say?" Piers Morgan asked Anna Kasparian if she would be as outraged if Miss Rachel was criticized for drawing attention to the plight of Israeli children. Now, this is an insane line of questioning for a couple of reasons, but let's just take a look first.
Children's entertainer who was and if it was a children's entertainer who was pro-Israeli,
Oh, Anna would have.
What would you say?
Shut
And be
up.
honest about this.
If she is showing the humanity of Israeli children, why would I have a problem with that?
Oh, come on.
Really?
And Pierce, you've had me on this show multiple times. Yeah, I 100%.
But if you deem she only cared about Israeli kids
multiple times,
right? But if you deem
do you know
she
what
cared,
year it is? Pierce, do you know what year it is? Okay, it's not October 7th, 2023. Since then, over 2.5 years later, tens of thousands of children have been slaughtered on the Palestinian side.
Yeah, but that's not my question.
So when they bring up the what
That's
about
not my
what
question.
about Everyone condemns what happened to Israeli civilians
No,
on
that's not my
October 7th.
question.
I have done that
Anna,
on this show.
Anna, you're answering a different...
I have done that on this show.
Yeah, I'm not questioning.
The thing is, the
I'm
two
not
individuals
questioning
on this
that.
panel right now do not care about Palestinian lives.
Well, I don't believe that's true. I don't believe that's true.
On so-called anti-Semitism.
It's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
I don't believe that's true, but my question was...
They don't care.
My question,
they don't care.
All right,
let me read you a quote
Let me
then.
talk,
Let me read you a quote.
Let me talk.
This is from Tali Gottlieb. Tali Gottlieb says, "We have no hostages left. We no longer have to be precise, as if the IDF was ever precise in Gaza. We can attack without mercy. Merciless. Merciless." What do the two individuals on this panel have to say about that?
Well, I want you to...
genocidal rhetoric.
Okay, but I just want you to answer my question first, which is actually specifically about whether a children's entertainer with a massive reach, if they were promoting the pro-Israeli position on this war and not really mentioning the
genocide?
Palestinian side...
No, I would not think that's a good idea.
So you would not like that to happen?
If they're promoting genocide, I would not.
That's not what he asked.
No, if they were being supported.
Okay, so it's interesting. So she misunderstands that at first. So what Piers is basically asking was, what if there was a children's entertainer who was like not overtly political, but who was highlighting the plight of Israeli kids and not Palestinian kids? Now, this is an extremely stupid question for two reasons. Number one, the question is obviously, yes, that would be a problem, as Anna answers. That would be like, while the Holocaust is happening, highlighting the plight of German kids while saying nothing about the Jews in the gas chambers, right? Like that is an equivalent.
Hans has not been able to get linseed oil to shine his black boots for 3 months.
Exactly. Now, those two guys on the right would say that's a blood libel. How dare you make that comparison? It's a perfectly reasonable comparison to make. So, yes, that would be fucked up. But secondly, what this line of questioning assumes is that Miss Rachel has never expressed sympathy for Israeli children. That's like embedded in the framing of that. So let's let Anna finish and then we'll go on.
If they're promoting genocide, I would not.
That's not what he asked.
No, if they were being supportive of Israel, but they weren't mentioning the Palestinian plight much, what would you say about that? Would you think it's appropriate for a children's entertainer?
I would say that sounds a lot like American media.
Yeah, but my point would be that I think you would be very critical if a children's entertainer was overtly pro-Israeli. That's the point.
Okay, so what he's implying there is that Miss Rachel has only highlighted the plight and suffering of Palestinian children. Now, I don't know if he's lying. I don't think he is. My guess is that he is simply ignorant of the fact that actually Miss Rachel has, on repeat occasion, highlighted the suffering of Israeli children who have been caught up in this. So I tweeted this out. I said, Piers Morgan, your questions here seem to imply that Miss Rachel never expressed any empathy or concern for Israeli children, which is not at all true. I attached some screenshots. One is her memorializing the Bibas children who were killed in captivity. They were hostages. And the other is from the video that I guess started all this controversy, where she prayed for both the children of Gaza and the children of Israel. Don't let the Israelis obfuscate and pretend that their issue is with her one-sidedness, quote unquote. They hate her for humanizing and sympathizing with Palestinian children because they hate Palestinian children. So yeah, there is the receipt. I'm devastated to hear about Precious, Ariel, and Kafir and their beloved mother, Shiri. My heart is with the Bibas family, the Jewish community, and people all over the world who are grieving. We need to protect children. Always. This is apparently the viral video that got her on Stop Antisemitism's radar in the first place, where she says a prayer both for the children of Gaza and the children of Israel.
For children in Gaza, this is a prayer for children in Israel. This is a prayer for all the children. Please stop hurting them.
Okay, so there you have it. Those are the receipts. Those are the receipts. And as for the two hacks on the panel, this is Hen Mazig. This is one of them. As you can see, just uses the same sort of copy pasta all the time. Don't tell Jews not to use the words pogrom and anti-Semitism to describe active violence against us. You can't describe a poison you didn't taste. Look at all that time. You can't describe a poison you never tasted. Then in March 2024, you cannot describe a poison you've never tasted. February, August 3rd, 23rd, 2022, you can't describe a poison you never tasted. That is his go-to phrase hack that he is.
It's very woke. It's a very woke formulation.
Yeah. Exactly. Very woke formula. Okay, so if you're not Jewish, then you can't speak about anti-Semitism. So then why have any of these
Anti-Semitism is anything that a person who identifies as Jewish says it is.
Right.
That's the essence of the identity politics formula, right?
Right.
You can, if you're not a member of a group, you can't speak on it. You can't write it. You can't think about it. You can't talk about it. You can't contradict someone of that identity on questions of that identity. So where are all these at? Where's Douglas Murray losing his mind about this? I thought this was the whole anti-Western, anti-Age of Enlightenment kind of thinking. He built his career around opposing, supposedly.
Exactly. So here is Jake Donnelly. Here was the other panelist here with the red, white, and blue Jew. Red, white, and blue Jew. More like the orange, white, and green Jew, I think. But okay, if you say so, Jake Donnelly.
Morning, it's the red, white, and blue Jew, aka Jake Donnelly, and today I need to talk about Miss Rachel and the Stop Antisemitism Anti-Semite of the Year listing. And that's because Stop Antisemitism, as they do every single year, put out their list of worst anti-Semites as their voting block for who is going to be the worst anti-Semite of the year. Now, before I get into everything, I don't like that Stop Antisemitism does that because most of the people take being put on that list as a badge of honor, as just about everybody who is on that list took it yesterday. But what everybody's talking about is the inclusion of Miss Rachel, with everybody saying, how could you include her? She's just a child's entertainer. Yeah, and Goebbels was just a fucking journalist. Look,
wow.
She's a propagandist. She's an indoctrinist, and she's really good friends with an actual Hamas journalist. That's who Miss Rachel is. When she's
okay, first of all, I'm sure that is a bullshit claim. Notice they don't name who they're talking about. They don't actually show any pictures or anything like that. They'll say this on Piers Morgan. They'll tweet this out. They'll post it in text without ever linking to an exhibit. And what Piers actually, to his credit, does say when they bring it up in that interview. He says, well, look, I've platformed people who have, shall we say, here on YouTube, a nonconformist view about October 7th. That doesn't make me an anti-Semite, does it? Just because I platform them, right? Like, are you going to call me an anti-Semite? Like, if anybody who platforms someone who was an anti-Semite is an anti-Semite by extension, then why aren't you boycotting my show, right?
Right.
Not only that, I'm having you guys on, and you guys clearly revel in the murder of innocent Palestinians. So why should you be platformed if that's the ground rule? Secondly, once again, she is not an indoctrinator on her YouTube show. First of all, YouTube is very strict about content for children. You can't sneak political messages into children's content on YouTube. We watch Miss Rachel very often, every day, throughout the day. I have a 1.5-year-old who loves Miss Rachel. There's no political messaging in her children's content, which is what she does for a living. She speaks out about this issue that she's passionate about on her Instagram, which is not viewed, at least it shouldn't be, by 2-year-olds. And she reaches the parents of these kids who follow her. Right. That's completely in bounds. That's not indoctrinating children. That's using your platform to spread a message that you believe in. Like, I don't know, like Americans are supposed to do, right? Isn't that an American thing to do? Isn't that taking advantage of your First Amendment? No, not to Jake Donnelly.
Says that she's for all children, but the only fucking thing that she can throw out is a morsel of a happy birthday to the B-Boss children. Yeah, I don't...
She didn't wish them a happy birthday. Again, you're just lying. I just showed you the receipt. She put out a tweet memorializing them after they were killed. She didn't just wish them a happy birthday. Again, these people are just such fucking liars. They are such liars.
Believe you. You never talked about all of the displaced children in the north of Israel who are missing that precious school that you like to talk about because of the actions.
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about in the north of Israel.
I think he's talking about the rocket exchanges that
Lebanon
with Hezbollah early
with Lebanon.
On.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Of the parents of Palestinian children. You never, ever got into that. But you have all the condemnation for Israel, when at the same time you're trying to teach the alphabet by saying M is for Motaz. Yeah, Motaz Azeza, the Hamas journalist who says fuck Israel every breath, every second of every single day.
Well, I say fuck Israel every breath. I mean, I say that. I'm not a Hamas journalist. Like, what have you proven there? Oh, you mean she has Palestinians on who don't like Israelis because Israelis murder them? Oh, wow. Oh, well, I
That's
guess
crazy.
that settles that then. No, I mean, these people are just absolutely pathetic. But, Miss Rachel, look, it's getting to the end of the year time, but we've said this in the past. She is definitely on the dissident of the year list, no doubt about it, because Miss Rachel, unlike a lot of the people who are on the Stop Antisemitism list who actually campaign for anti-Semitism of the year because they are political people who do take it as a badge of honor, she does not need this at all. She is extraordinarily wealthy between the billions of YouTube views that she has, the Netflix deal that she has, the merchandising. I mean, there's dolls of her in every Target store all across the country.
Are there? See,
yeah.
See, not being a parent, that's like a whole world I have no knowledge of.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, she is a huge star. I mean, she is worth tens of millions of dollars at this rate.
Like, I had
she will
no
be
idea
worth...
she's merchandised in Target.
Oh, she's merchandised. Oh, yeah. No, she is a massive star.
She has a Netflix deal?
She's like Batman.
On Netfllix?
She's like Superman. Yeah. Like... This is like a superhero coming out and putting, herself out there in what surprisingly to her is a very, very controversial issue. She took the very, very controversial stance unwittingly that children should not be murdered by the tens of thousands. No, this is someone who has an unbelievable amount of money. I think her net worth is already about $50 million. At this rate, she'll be well into the hundreds of millions in terms of net worth in a few years. I mean, she's everywhere. Her YouTube numbers alone are just insane. She does not need this at all. She's not a political person. She has nothing to gain by putting herself out there in this way. And not only did she put herself out there at first with the seemingly non-controversial video, this is a prayer for the children of Gaza, it's a prayer for the children of Israel, but she has continued to double and triple down. The more they come for her, the more she just hits back. And now she finally hits back and say, hey, this Stop Antisemitism organization should not be able to just ruin people without consequence. Of course, they should be fucking sued. Like, it's absurd. And so good for her for speaking out in the first place, but you just give her more and more credit every day as someone who has everything she needs. She's not a political person. She has nothing reputationally to gain in her professional space, if you will, by doing this, but she does it anyway. So good for her, as always.
It really shows you how much they know how indefensible their entire project is, that they would go after Ms. Rachel with such desperation. Like, you don't see that there's no upside to going after this woman who reads like she was literally sent by God to do children's programming.
Right, yeah.
Like she is designed to do that. Her voice, her manner, her obvious empathy and love of children, it just exudes from her pores. She prayed and sang for Israeli and Palestinian children. Just common sense. Like, don't fuck with that. And you look at, I keep thinking of this because we talk a lot about how so many people in the space are patriots. Tim Pool, man, like calling her a demon.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, I don't wish for anyone to get doxxed. It's not the way to do things. You handle things through discourse. But you want to talk about karma. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do calling this woman a demon? What do you think the consequences can be of these kinds of words? And if you look at that framing, they're so desperate to cast anybody who opposes Israel as woke. It's what they've been doing since day one. It's what I saw at the douchebag dialogues quite a while ago now. Immediately, they were trying to frame it as woke. But it doesn't make any sense. They keep trying it, but it keeps not working because, as you say, she's not political like that. She's not I'm with her. She's not up there at a big Hillary rally. How do you frame it that way? Keep your kids away from this shit. What shit? What, they should be watching PragerU? Like, what are you talking about? But as we've discussed, do they really want people to like them? Like I don't think people like the Donnelly guy that you showed is really in on it. I think they get guys like that as useful idiots to make people hate Jews so that they'll go to Israel. Like, why would you get such a rogues gallery of off-putting creeps to represent you if you didn't want to create anti-Semitism? Or for that matter, why would you go after Miss Rachel?
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And, look, when it comes to Tim Pool in terms of like everything that's happened, like, look, I believe everybody should be able to say what they think is true. Like, if he thinks she's a demon, he should be allowed to call her a demon.
Think that. He doesn't
no, I
think
know,
that.
but I'm
He's
just
paid.
saying, if that's what
Tim Pool is absolutely bought and paid for, no question about it.
Well, I'm just saying, if he believes that, or even if he doesn't believe that, even if he's lying when he says it, like, you should be allowed to basically call someone a demon without having to worry about anything like that. That to me is all.
Why I prefaced what I said.
No, I understand, but no,
yes.
I'm just setting up a point here. All right, take it easy. All right, I'm saying you should be able to say that. That's totally in bounds to say. That's not inviting anything on anybody or inviting anything on yourself, in my opinion. The point of what I'm saying is that Stop Antisemitism goes further. The founder of Stop Antisemitism, we did that on the previous show. They actually tried to get people fired. They tried to get that kid's life ruined who did the quote-unquote anti-Semitic vandalism of the temple or the, what was it, the Reform Center, the Jewish Youth Center, or some Jewish community center that was vandalized by some stupid kid. The Stop Antisemitism woman said he painted a swastika, which was not true, and tried to actually get him like doxxed and exposed and like blacklisted, right? So they take this into a realm of actually trying to destroy you, right? Actually trying to make you unviable in the marketplace, right? They actually take it beyond discourse. So that and that's why, I think you should not be allowed to just do that if you're going to go out there and ruin people's lives based on nonsense claims like this. That's beyond just like discourse. It's beyond being nasty to someone, right? They actually take it upon themselves to actually try and ruin people proactively, not just secondhand by inspiring people to go out and dox people. They actually do it directly. Stop Antisemitism does that directly. They're very, very proud of that. All right. Let's go to some super chats and Rumble rants. You want to do some super chats first?
Sure. John Olmsted. My YouTube Wrapped came out, and you, Sabby, and RBN were missing, despite me watching nearly all your videos. Yeah, Jimmy shared a post like that, so where somebody said the same thing, that he watches multiple Jimmy videos per day, and he wasn't on his year-end rap list.
Yeah, what you usually watch. Yeah, exactly. Are we getting blacklisted from the rap list?
Maybe. Good evening, Keaton, Russell, and chat from 4Trees7, and good evening to you. Morty Duke, I agree with Keaton. We aren't normal. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And I pray that Ms. Rachel never becomes political because the children need her love. Yeah, I don't think that's her jam, man. I think she's just into kids. P. Walker. The only threat Israeli kids face doesn't come from Palestinians. It comes from Israeli PDFs who flee international prosecution. Yeah, man, all kinds of people who are criminal in that way go there. Yes. Brad Gilbert. Pierce's first question is about kids. His second is pro-Israeli position on this war. It's not about the kids, but the others change it back to kids. Yeah, I mean, Piers is, kind of like Mehdi Hassan. When he decides to use his considerable skills for good, he's very formidable. But you never know which one of him is going to show up in any given situation.
Yeah. No, he feels, that's why we called him Hack of the Year last year. I think sometimes he feigns ignorance. Like, I don't know if he knew what he was talking about there or not. If he knew that she actually did sympathize with Israeli children, was just hiding that. I suspect he didn't. But, I think sometimes, he tries very hard to be even-handed, and this is an issue where the truth is so clearly on one side of things that when you try to play the fair and balanced guy, you just kind of look like a moron. Abiding 71 says the Ford Galaxy corn pop and Kizzy Jenkins, reported for blocking a Bath Beach hydrant in the summer of 77, would later become the most wanted vehicle in New York City's largest manhunt. Thank you, Abiding. Professor Brown notes says the Godfelcher, never go against the family, Marjorie. Thank you. Good one. Abiding. In the Elephant Bar in Bay Ridge, Corn Pop put $5 in the jukebox, pressed the same James Brown song 25 times in a row, and dared anybody to complain about it. He was a bad dude. Vienticus Prime. Oh, look at this. How'd you do that, Vienticus Prime? Look at this. What? Comply, don't.
Oh,
and,
snap.
How do you do? How do you even? I can't even read that.
Yeah, how do you do that?
That's very clever, but I don't even know how do you do that. How do you get the words to go upside down? Wow, I'm not upside down and backwards. The world is. I didn't know that was possible. Does anybody even know in the chat that I didn't even know that you could do that?
No, me neither.
Pretty crazy stuff. Vito, hey Vito, says here to accept the award of Anti-Semite of the Year for Miss Rachel is Greta Thunberg. Cancer sucks, you won't rock. Yeah, she didn't get nominated.
It's an anti-Semitic award. Well, she's probably been nominated.
She's probably been nominated. Yeah. That's true. They don't do repeat nominations, which is very weird. What about Zionism that makes people horribly insane and psychotic? Well,
pretty much the whole premise.
Yeah, the entire premise. And I really feel like it's this obsession with blood and conquest and strength. They suppress.
It's fascism. It's it. What could be more blood and soil,
right,
than the Zionist claim to that land?
Yeah, and they're so. This is what they carry with them, such shame, which they shouldn't, but they do. They carry with them the shame of their ancestors not being able to fight the Nazis off to such an extreme that they very, very actively and unhealthily suppress any feeling of vulnerability within themselves because they view that as weakness. And so they're constantly trying to project militancy and strength. And what that does is it causes you to just have just a blown fuse when it comes to any sort of empathy for people. Right. That's the way I describe, like, the Zionist soul is like a fuse box with a fuse that's just out. Like there's just something that's not able to connect with the rest of it. And that's how I diagnose them. But, you know, I don't have a degree in that stuff. I do my best.
But you will.
I will. That's right. All right. Why don't we move right?
Hang on. I got that picture.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
There we are. Chilling. It was quite a lovely evening.
Excellent. That's awesome. Oh, wow. 2,828 strong in the YouTube chat. Let's see if I can make this happen without freezing my screen. There we go. And 777 likes. All right. Very well. All right. Let's move right on along.
Okay, in spite of the president's support for the Ellison bid, big shock drop this week. Netflix agrees to buy Warner Brothers in an $82.7 billion deal that will transform Hollywood. Apparently, Ellison tried to Jew them down, and they didn't go for it. I'm not even kidding. Apparently, he lowballed it. He didn't think there was any real competition.
Yeah, I mean, when you're the second richest man in the world, they know how to get the price they want.
Yes. Well, listen, look. We give you $30 and unlimited white fish for the next 20 years.
Yeah, right, exactly.
They didn't go for that. Netflix prevailed in a contentious bidding war to buy Warner Brothers, agreeing to pay $72 billion for the storied Burbank film and television studios, its spacious lot, HBO, and the HBO Max streaming service. The two companies announced the blockbuster deal early Friday, a proposed baton pass that would give Netflix such beloved characters as Batman, Harry Potter, Jon Snow, and Fred Flintstone. I didn't know Fred Flintstone was Warner Brothers. Netflix's cash and stock transaction is valued at about $27.75 per Warner Brothers Discovery share. Netflix also agreed to take on more than $10 billion in Warner Brothers debt, pushing the deal's enterprise value to $82.7 billion. Quote, "This move is all about adding serious firepower to Netflix's content game," said Julie Clark, Senior Vice President of Media and Entertainment at information firm TransUnion. HBO brings a treasure trove of IP, proven franchises, and world-class storytelling, she said. That's huge for Netflix. Now, on that, we're not going to get too into the side quest, but Hollywood Reporter wrote an article pointing out an interesting element to that. You have all of these companies right now using their content libraries to generate AI training models to train their AI on. Disney has announced that they're going to let users create their own AI generated versions of their IPs. Hollywood Reporter, they're speculating, but it makes sense that part of the reason they want this content is to train their AI on. Right now, it's kind of the Wild West. Everyone's just grabbing stuff in the wild to train AI. The legality of that is really not clear, and there are already multiple lawsuits. And if any of those lawsuits actually win, they're going to be fucked. So a lot of companies are starting to think ahead and try to get their own content that they can train their AI on. But very few have the pockets to buy a deep content library like Warner Brothers, but that might be part of why Netflix wanted to do this. Back to the Los Angeles Times. Paramount, controlled by the billionaire Larry Ellison's family, was widely seen as the likely buyer after it launched the bidding for all of Warner Brothers Discovery in September. But Warner's board rejected Paramount's series of offers as too low. The company opened the auction to other prospective suitors in late October. The breakthrough came earlier this week after the three contenders, Netflix, Paramount, and Comcast, submitted their second round proposals. Netflix's staggering, largely cash offer was too rich for the others to beat. Fun fact here, just to interject from DCU Brief. Fun fact, in the year 2000, Blockbuster turned down the option to buy Netflix for $50 million. Today, Netflix bought Warner Brothers for $82 billion. That was the worst deal pass, arguably, of the century. Netflix and Warner Brothers said their boards had separately and unanimously approved the transaction. The deal is subject to approval by Warner shareholders and government regulators in the U.S. and abroad. Netflix said it should be able to finalize the purchase in about a year to 18 months. Warner's cable channels, including CNN, TNT, and HGTV, are not included in the deal. They will form a new publicly traded company, Discovery Global, in mid-2026. There's also been some coverage on this, what this means for CNN. And there's an upside and downside. The upside inside the building is that they're not going to have Barry Weiss as a boss. The downside is they're not going to have an enormous corporation funding their operations. And given their ratings, there's a question of whether they could really survive on their own without that kind of support. Warner Chief Executive David Zaslav will continue to manage the business through its cable channel spinoff until the close of Netflix's takeover of the studio assets. Netflix has more than 300 million streaming subscribers worldwide, and with HBO Max, the company's base would swell to more than 420 million subscribers, far more than any other premium video on-demand streaming services.
That's insane. You think about how insane that is. That's like, what, 1 in every 15 people on the planet is a fucking, like 1 in every 20 people on the earth? Yeah, I mean, that's insane.
During the bidding process, Netflix assured Warner executives that it would honor Warner Brothers' existing commitments to release its films in theaters. Netflix, in the past, has shown a preference for simultaneous releases, sparking tensions with cinema chains. One lingering question, analysts say, is how Netflix will approach theatrical distribution over the long haul. In a joint statement, the Writers Guild of America's East and West chapters blasted the deal, saying that, quote, the world's largest streaming company swallowing one of its biggest competitors is what antitrust laws were designed to prevent. The outcome would eliminate jobs, push down wages, worsen conditions for all entertainment workers. Industry workers, along with the public, are already impacted by only a few powerful companies maintaining tight control over what consumers can watch on television, on streaming, and in theaters. This merger must be blocked, the statement read. Paramount accused Warner Brothers Discovery of tilting the field to favor Netflix in a letter to Zaslav. What are you talking about? Whitefish! Whitefish for 20 years we were going to give you. Paramount's lawyers wrote, Paramount has a credible basis to believe that the sales process has been tainted. Yeah, no, they don't. No, they don't. But there is a question of whether they're going to try to take legal action to stop this merger. Larry Ellison famously, when Microsoft, which is kind of like his arch nemesis, he absolutely hates Bill Gates and Microsoft. When they were being sued for antitrust violations, he had his private detectives go through the garbage at Microsoft to try to help the case. So this is not a guy who's likely to just walk away quietly, especially when Trump wanted him to take over. Warner denied that the process was unfair, but it was unclear Friday whether Paramount would continue to press its case. So this old interview reemerged with Ted Sarandos, the CEO of Netflix. Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos says Barbie and Oppenheimer would have been just as big on Netflix. Quote, there's no reason to believe that the movie itself is better in any size of screen for all people. My son's an editor. He watched Lawrence of Arabia on his phone. Wow. So this is great. This is great. And I think this is a due dissidence first. I don't think we've ever shown an interview with David Lynch on the show before. This is from Krister Johnson. The worst thing about the Netflix WB merger is David Lynch is no longer with us to rant about it. Well, the dear departed David Lynch can rant about it here anytime. Here he is.
Now, if you're playing the movie on a telephone or on your computer, you will never in a trillion years experience the film. You'll think you have experienced it, but you'll be cheated. It will be a week. You'll be experiencing weakness and extreme putrefaction of a potential experience in another world. So don't let your friends or some television advertisement trick you into accepting weakness. It's such a sadness. Power in that world is critical. Everything has been worked on to be a certain way. And if you don't have a setup for your films, it's a joke. It's just the most sickening, horrifying joke. And this world is so troubled. And it's such a sadness that you think you've seen a film on your fucking telephone. Get real.
You tell him, David. You tell him, man. Okay. So I think a lot of people, particularly in our corner of the landscape, were very relieved to see that the largest donor of the IDF, who just swallowed up Paramount, was not going to go on to swallow up Warner Brothers. The thing that a lot of people are upset about is the fact that Netflix certainly has been a pioneer in just releasing a movie in the movie theater long enough to qualify for the Academy Awards and then moving it to streaming. No matter what they told them in order to close the deal, I see no reason to believe that Netflix is not going to continue with that model. I'm surprised, honestly, that movie theaters have not collapsed yet, because when I go to movie theaters, I was actually talking to Katie about this. She grew up in the city. And when I used to go to a movie in Manhattan in the 90s, it was always packed. I always got tickets in advance because they were always packed. Now, you could go on the weekend, man. Like they're pretty empty. The movies are pretty empty. So, is Netflix buying Warner Brothers causing this? No, it's not a cause. It's a symptom. Case in point, Box Office Massacre. October revenue falls to 27-year low, excluding the pandemic. That was just this past October. Attendance in 2025 was projected to be down 35 to 40% compared to 2019, with October 2025 hitting its lowest non-COVID numbers since 1997. And the 2025 summer box office was down significantly from 2019, falling below 1981 levels even before inflation adjustments. Yeah, man. Netflix buying up Warner Brothers might accelerate that process, but it's coming. It's inevitable. Listening to David Lynch talking there, as a theater guy, I'll tell you, man, that is how theater people have sounded since the first time they put a movie into a projector and people paid to see it. It's not the same as the live experience. You're going to miss that relationship to the performer. It's true. It's true, but it's not going to stop people from going to the next medium. We're going through something that has not happened in a long time, a total shift in the medium of entertainment people go to, and nobody's quite sure exactly what that looks like yet. There will be there's still theater, right? It just doesn't have the cultural impact that it once did. That's what's going to happen with cinema. And you could argue it's already happened. It's already happened. What was the last movie that everyone quoted where a line from that movie became a part of the culture? What was the last one? Can you think of a movie in the last 20 years that generated a "Say Hello to My Little Friend"? We're already there, man. We're already there. Like, it already doesn't have that central place in the culture anymore. When Death of a Salesman was released in the 40s, that was a topic of conversation, man. That was really important in the culture. Like, my grandparents went to see that. Like, that was something you had to go see. It's just not like that anymore. Like, no play has that impact anymore unless they turn it into a movie, and then it gets distributed into the culture that way. We're going through that now, where people are coming and watching things like this, watching short form videos. If you look at this generation of creatives, a lot of them are just going straight to trying to create an influencer brand. Whereas when that wasn't available, people with that creativity, they probably would have thought more in terms of trying to create narrative drama content or comedy content. They're going right to selling themselves. It's a different world. Movies won't go away, but just like theater, it's going to be a much smaller part of the cultural landscape, and it's going to exist alongside other mediums that become more prominent. So this is from Armand Domolewski. The upstart tech company, Netflix, with a great app but mediocre content, buying an old media dinosaur with a bad app but good content, is literally a Succession plotline. Yes, it was. Womp Stomp Films. If the Netflix WB merger teaches you anything, it should be that now, more than ever, is the time to start supporting filmmakers directly. Cut out the executives. Stop giving your money to these greedy, uncreative pigs. Support the people who do the actual work. Now, yes. I wanted to end on that because I think he's absolutely right. Like, yeah, people are lamenting the end of Hollywood and the end of that whole world, but at the same time, you also do have to acknowledge that the world has also opened up to talented people to put out their shingle and try to get people to support them in ways that never existed before. I mean, Hollywood was the ultimate gatekeeping business. How many movies were there, like Swimming with Sharks and The Player, about how difficult it was to get into the industry? So you had to degrade yourself, and then you're still probably only going to be fetching coffee for an executive, right? Okay, man. So that's the upside. That world is kind of going away. And yeah, now you can go straight to online crowdfunding platforms, put the flag up the flagpole, see who salutes, and maybe get direct funding to make whatever kind of movie you want. So I think there is a positive to the death of that concentration and almost monopoly. Or, you want to talk about independent films. I mean, you want to go fucking blow smoke up the ass of 1,000 dentists to get your movie funded? That's what they used to do. Yeah. They would go around and try to get people to give them 1,000 here and 1,000 there. Now you just put it out there on a platform, and maybe you can get your movie funded if you have the talent, the vision, the determination. That's the upside of it. I mean, for me, I see that as more positive than the negative of the collapse of Hollywood, frankly. Like, what did you need all that concentrated power for? What were they doing with it? Making more fucking superhero movies at this point? The Casablanca days are long gone.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you saw the superhero movies come back, which was sort of like the early 2010s, like with the Avengers, that really just started out this whole trend where you saw the disappearance of the mid-budget film, and the mid-budget films are always the best ones. If you look at all of the awards movies, all of the stuff that got really talked about, it was those movies that were, expensive enough to get like big talent in them, but not blockbusters meant to appeal to such a broad audience that they had all the sort of art filtered out of them. Movies in the budget of, the $30 to $60 million range, those were always the best ones. And even, like into the 2000s, you had quite a few of those. And into the 2000s, I mean, don't forget, like when The Dark Knight came out, that was 2008. There was not a Batman movie every year at that time.
Right.
There's a Batman movie every 5 or 6 years. Right now, there's a different Avengers, a different superhero, this or that every year or so. They just rotate out. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for the decline of cinema, broadly speaking, irrespective of the Hollywood system, just the whole like decline of the art form. COVID obviously accelerated that in a huge way. And I think the democratization of the medium is a great thing. The only thing, I mean, David Lynch was obviously a brilliant filmmaker, and so he is very precious about the theater going experience. And you have a lot of directors
and he's not wrong.
Oh no, he's not wrong. No, there's certainly some truth to that. There were a lot of directors like that. William Friedkin would when his movie was about to premiere, he'd go into the theater and bust the technician's balls, make sure the sound was balanced just the way he wanted. And a lot of guys like that who are extreme talents get very precious about that stuff. And there is some truth to that. I mean, there's something to a big screen experience. I think the bigger component of it, though, is the social and cultural component. Like the movie theater was a place where friends would meet up and go, and they would get dinner before they'd go, and then they'd talk about the movie after, and they'd talk about what the next one they want. It makes the art part of the culture in a way.
Right.
Whereas the democratization is great because we can raise enough money to go to St. Louis and do a documentary that we want to do, and people will get to see it. But are people going to go out en masse into rooms all around the country and see it and talk about it afterwards and actually start conversations about it? That is going to be really difficult to replace. And that is what the streaming has really destroyed. And so it's a double-edged sword, because I think the democratization of the medium is a great thing, but there's got to be some way to get the arts back into the cultural conversation. And I just don't see a way to do that. I think liberalism really broke the spirit of Hollywood. When Obama won, we entered this end of cultural history moment where nobody had anything to say anymore. And then capitalism really just broke the back of it. Like now, like how do you get a movie? That's why it's so rare to see anything good. Like when that movie Tar came out a few years ago, you were like, oh, this is what cinema is. And I had the same experience. I mean, this year, oddly enough, you had a few movies that I really, really liked. I loved One Battle After Another. I loved Weapons. I loved Sinners. This new movie Hamnet looks pretty good. But who's going to see him? Who's going to see him? I mean, even the One Battle After Another, that's the big Oscar favorite. It did not put enough asses in the seats to stay in the theaters more than a few weeks. So it's a trend that's going one way, and there are redeeming aspects to this change. But what you've really lost is cinema as having any kind of cultural capital.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about this last night. Like when the indie movie revolution hit in the 90s, people were lining up to see Clerks, to see the Brothers McMullen, to see Breaking the Waves.
Yep.
That is inconceivable now.
Right. I remember, Brothers McMullen was huge. That was a massive movie, and Ed Burns made that for nothing. Yep. He made that for nothing. I know an actor who knows Edward Burns. Who I've met Edward Burns a couple of times, and he had this massive. It's not massive, but he had a very devout following of like wannabe indie filmmakers who would just hang on his every word because how he got the Brothers McMullen into the world was he busted Robert Redford's balls. He had some kind of, he ran into Robert Redford for some weird reason, and he got the movie into Sundance, and that was the way you had to do it.
Right.
And there was a lot of gatekeeping in that. Like Burns, like that movie, The Brothers McMullen is that's one in a million. That's a needle in a haystack. Now anybody can go and make that movie, and they can get a modest audience to see it, but you're not going to become Ed Burns because it's not going to generate the cultural conversation that it once did. Yeah.
Well, that's, no one's going to be Arthur Miller.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ed Burns, it was so funny because the actor I directed this movie for absolutely no money. It was a short film. And my actor friend knew a guy who knew Ed Burns. And so Ed Burns saw the film that we made. And the film we made, we actually, long story short, it got sold to a medical device company because it was about Lyme disease. Not a medical device company, but like a Lyme disease awareness foundation or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it really looked like absolute hell because we had absolutely no money to make it. And so we went and saw some Ed Burns movie that he had coming out. And the Q&A, everybody is like raising their hand. They're all like wannabe filmmakers are in this Q&A. And they're all raising their hand and they're asking him, hey, I got this script. I want to get going. What is your advice? And he was a super nice guy, like an extremely nice, encouraging guy. He would have all this encouragement. He says, don't worry, man, just keep going. If you love it, do it. It's your passion. Things will fall into place. Don't worry. I'm sure you're going to be great. I'm sure you'll be fine. I'm sure something's going to happen down the road, but keep very, very positive and warm and encouraging.
That's the worst thing you could tell him.
Well, it's so funny because he was very warm and very encouraging to everybody. And then after the Q&A got out, I was waiting with my actor buddy who knew him under the marquee because he was going to say hello to him. So he says hello to him after he introduces us to me. He says, this is Keaton. This is the guy who directed the short film I showed you. And Burns looks at me and goes, oh. That's it. He had no compliment, no words of encouragement. No, hey, yeah, that was good, kid.
Uniquely.
No. Everybody
you were the
else.
one person in the room.
I was the one person who he had not a positive thing. He just said, oh. They could not muster.
And that's how you wound up a podcast.
That's how I wound up a podcaster. He could not muster any enthusiasm for me whatsoever. It's like,
Well, you want to get revenge? You want to get revenge on Edward Burns? They just dropped some kind of sequel to the Brothers McMullen on HBO Max. It looks terrible.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, they did. It's like their kids. It's like the brothers' kids.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Interesting. I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Looks pretty bad.
All right. Let's take some super chats, shall we?
We shall. We have quite a few. People are feeling the spirit of Christmas.
Yeah.
Axel Strife, morally superior ideas can never prosper in the current public crucible as long as there's more money to be made in maintaining morally inferior ones. Damn right, my friend.
Yep.
A member for 30 months. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Axel, the OG.
Race car. I bet 100 years from now, Ms. Rachel will be nominated for sainthood or something equivalent. She is pure empathy. You know, I'm hoping we're past all that religious stuff by then, but probably not. The Village Idiot complained to the ADL about your exclusion from Anti-Semites of the Year. I might do that. That would be a really funny jerky boy stunt we could do. Call on the ADL to complain about that.
Yeah. Oh, look at this guy over here with the 99.99. Wow.
Zoratash 7453. I really love and appreciate the reporting y'all do. You guys are empathetic to the Muslim diaspora that most people dehumanize even when they're being posy.
I guess positive, maybe?
Positive. And that New Orleans deep dive, one of my favorite things on the internet. Love Zora from NYC. Well, thank you.
Thank
you
you, Zora.
very much. You're talking about when I did the Confederate Museum? That one?
Could have been, yeah. Let's have a cowbell for Zora. That was a very generous donation.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you very much. I'm writing a video essay about New Orleans. Now you gave me encouragement.
Oh, there you go.
Ross Monroe. Been listening, watching from Scotland for over a year now. Yo, where's our haggis, yo? Yeah, we got a P.O. box. Love the show, guys, even though it's hard to catch a live show. Well, we do that Thursday thing specifically for y'all out there.
Yeah, there you go.
And now we
Thursdays.
actually pulled back Tuesday. P. Walker. The Netflix WB deal is reminiscent of AOL buying out Time Warner. How did that work out? Well, a lot of people are pointing that out, that Warner Brothers has almost been cursed in mergers. This is, I think, the third one. And the other two went tits up. So, yeah. Yes. It has not worked out for anybody else. Wasim Garani. Warner purchased Hanna-Barbera cartoons in the 2000s. That makes sense because, growing up, I don't remember it as a Warner Brothers brand. So they also own Tom and Jerry and Scooby-Doo.
Interesting. All right.
Bring back the marijuana subtext to Scooby-Doo. That's what I say. Marty Duke, Batman, Harry Potter, Jon Snow, and Fred walk into a bar. And Fred says, I'm getting out of here.
Good one.
All right. One more. John Olmsted, because we had a lot backed up there. Big enough to be blacklisted from the YouTube Wrapped. How's it feel, boys? You can tell your mothers you made it.
All
right. So, I'm not really plugging this yet because I want to get it set up more. But all right. So I started a travel channel because I'm going to, do a lot of filming when I'm in Asia, and it's going to clog up this channel. So I started a separate channel. And the first video I dropped for the first video did pretty well. And then the next two videos I dropped got 15 views. I don't understand if the algo suppressed it. I built it off my old theater company site. Maybe they didn't like that I took down all the old videos and kind of made the subscribers subscribe to a new channel without,
Interesting.
It's weird because the first one to get as many views as it did, they must have sent out notifications.
Right.
And it seems like they didn't with the next two. That's the only way I can explain such a difference between the first and the second and third. I will announce it more later in the week when I have that channel more set up.
Okay, cool. I meant to ask you if you wanted to do that tonight, but we had our tech issues before, so I was scrambling to get ready. Stoop sign. They're trying to Kanye Ms. Rachel. That's right. Isn't Stop It? Yeah, Kanye, he's not on the... he must have been a previous nominee. Isn't Stop Antisemitism run by one crazy woman with a shady past? Yes, funded by Milstein and other Zaya billionaires. Yeah, Lori Rez, I think her name is. I forget. We did this segment last week, though. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's why I said, they don't just... It's not just a fun thing where, this is your anti... No, they actually try to ruin people. I really enjoyed your analysis of Miss Rachel. I wonder what the lobectomy Wonder Boys TV and Kern. She should be in a brick. She should be. Yeah, that would be fun.
Oh yeah, I didn't get around to it today. I'm gonna send Matt an email, man, because Ken Klippenstein just dropped an article about how Bondi has ordered the FBI to look into dissidents. It seems like something a free speech advocate might want to look into.
Perhaps. Interesting fact. You should say I'm going to write this article on spec for you. See if you want it.
Yeah. You want to put it on Racket?
Yeah. Interesting fact.
What's Walter doing? I want some pointers from him.
Yeah. Interesting fact. Anti-Semite Marsha Cross, star of Desperate Housewives and Melrose Place, also played Pimple Popper MD on Seinfeld. Oh, really? She was apolitical before seeing children blown up. Oh, that was Pimple Popper MD? Okay. Interesting. Thank you. I'll look into that. Vianticus Prime, just do an internet search for upside down and backwards text. All right, I will. I will. Ex-Barbarian, thanks for the $20, Ex-Barbarian. Recently found UNFTR and Max. Yeah, Unfuck the Republic. That's, yeah, I've heard of that before, too. Where have I heard of that? That sounds familiar. Really recommend this channel. Great stuff. Focus on economic stuff. See the Denationalization of Money book by Frederick Hayek. They are privatizing money. Thank you, Ex-Barbarian. Master Yoda, join the American Communist Party at acp.us. Join, because the future belongs to the working class. Thank you. Okay. Let's see here. I was out canvassing, says Stoop Sign, for Kat Abu Ghazala. If y'all are registered voters, your basic data are all in the minivan app. Seems pretty intrusive. What I could potentially do with my turf lists. Interesting. Thank you for that. Professor Brown note. Festivus is coming. No gefilte fish at RFKs, but plenty of gefelchte fish. Haha, good one. Professor Brown note. Thank you for that. All right, let's move on right along here. Okay, another update in the continuing battle of Candace Owens versus Turning Points USA. So where we left off the last time we covered this on Thursday was Blake Neff announcing the night before the live stream we announced on the show Wednesday has been set at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. local time on Monday, December 15th. A collection of Charlie's friends will respond to statements made by Candace Owens to set the record straight once and for all prior to the opening of America Fest. We'll be live streaming from Charlie's Phoenix studio. Our offer from yesterday holds. If Candace wishes to join us in person in Phoenix, she is welcome to do so. She can let us know by the end of today. So they're giving her a time limit as to when she can respond. So just to catch everybody up, Turning Point, after months of silence, finally came out and basically accused Candace Owens of making stuff up and getting things wrong about the circumstances leading up to and following the murder of Charlie Kirk. And so they said, we're going to go through these claims and I guess debunk them on a date TBA, and Candace is welcome to join. So then in the middle of the night, they say, okay, the date is Monday, December 15th, and Candace has until the end of the day to decide if she wants to join us in person, which is a very strange deadline to set. Candace says, kind of weird how you didn't email or call me to ask about times or availability and chose to instead tweet this confirmation out at midnight. Why am I learning about this on X? December 15th does not work in person, and 2 p.m. Pacific is also the literal time I do my podcast live every day, which you knew. But we'll happily cancel the daily podcast and we'll join you guys virtually instead for the live stream on the 15th. If that works on your end, let's lock it in. Question mark. So then Blake Neff, this happens, right after we get off the air on Thursday. Yesterday, we made it clear that we would be scheduling a formal response to the allegations and accusations you have made. We've decided that response will be delivered during a live stream on December 15th. Thank you for your response, letting us know you will not be joining the in-person conversation. We will be proceeding without you. So basically saying, well, I guess if you can't make it in person, you're not welcome to join remotely via a live stream link, the way like everybody does guest appearances on shows now. So, friend of the show, Jimmy Dore, jumps all over this and says, wow, I knew you'd pull something, and here it is. Everyone, including you, knows that's not how you book a guest on a show. You are supposed to contact them and find a mutually agreeable date and time. You don't publicly announce the date before it's confirmed. It's transparently obvious what you're doing here. But you're all shady AF, including all of the pastors you're associated with. Nice ratio, by the way. And yes, it was a pretty nice ratio on that. As you could see, 10,000 likes to 15,000 comments on Blake Neff's post. And then Jimmy ratios him again even worse because Jimmy gets 19,000 likes on his post. So a double ratio, but it's not over. So Blake Neff responds, by the way, so I understand Blake Neff, you've been a producer for most of your career, kind of a backstage guy. If you're going to be an on-camera personality, you might want to consider a stage name because the Blake Neff, I mean, I'm sorry, that is a lame name for an on-camera personality. The Blake Neff Show. What is that about? What do you like? That sounds like a wallpaper review show, you know? The Blake Neff Show. Yeah, got to do something about that name. So Blake Neff responds, of course, it isn't how you book a guest. We are not booking a guest and never said we were. We are delivering a response to several months of escalating harassment and lies. She was given the opportunity to join and declines. So Jimmy goes back, and again, Jimmy ratios him again, because this is how it's 12,000 likes to 4.9 thousand likes. No, you're not booking a guest. You're ducking a guest, which is obvious. You keep doubling down on your transparently shady behavior, and everyone sees through you, which is why you're getting ratioed on your posts. Seriously, nice ratio. Again, yeah, they just dig and dig and dig. So you might ask, okay, what could the explanation be for why they will not allow her to simply join remotely? Because if they're going to go through and debunk what she's saying, and they invited her to be a part of it, you assume they want her to give her side of the story so that we can settle this once and for all. But no. So here from the Diligent Denizen, Charlie Kirk Show fan calls out TPUSA for insisting Candace Owens appear in person to their debunking challenge. So let's take a look at this.
Can't attend in person. Can she attend on a live stream or, you know, and you guys do live streams all the time. And is that going to be an option?
Of course, Gina.
I'm just trying to make this come together.
Of course, Gina. So first of all, our initial statement, it was on the show on Wednesday. I made it at the request of Erica. All of this has been at the direction and approval of Erica because she heads this. And so what we were announcing there is we said,
yeah, exactly.
She has said things that are not true. And yeah,
that's the Pete Hegseth School of Public Relations. Yeah, we support her in her decision to do it this way. By the way, elephant in the room, notice Colvett, whatever this guy's name is, I can never say his name right. He is joining remotely, oddly enough, to this. Like, he is a virtual guest on this show.
Optics.
Yes, very bad optics to be joined by a virtual guest while explaining why you absolutely can't have someone join virtually.
Is that going to be an option?
Of course, Gina.
I'm just trying to make this come together.
Of course, Gina. So first of all, our initial statement, it was on the show on Wednesday. I made it at the request of Erica. All of this has been at the direction and approval of Erica because she heads this. And so what we were announcing there is we said she has said things that are not true, and we did not address them for a long time. We stated the reasons why, that we thought a lot of them were just not, how to put it, we initially just thought no one would believe a lot of what was being said, and we also just, we remembered the same friendship that Charlie had, and we just hoped that this would go away without requiring any sort of direct statement or confrontation from us.
Okay, but the problem here is that you're asking us to believe that a 30-06 bullet was stopped by a neck bone. Like, that's what's impossible to believe. Like, I don't even hear Candace Owens herself saying she knows exactly what happened. I don't hear anybody making those claims. The claims we've heard coming out of the government, which I suppose are backed up by TPUSA, one is more ridiculous than the next, beginning and ending with this story that it was, I mean, the guy who's joining remotely said he said that the coroner told him it was a miracle that the neck bone stopped the bullet. So right there, you're saying you have to believe in literal miracles to believe what they're saying.
Right.
So, and now he's saying, well, I can't believe anybody would take seriously what she's saying. Well, who could take seriously what you guys are saying, assuming you endorse the official story, which it sounds like you do?
So what was approved is we announced we are going to respond to this. And what I said was we are going to announce a date soon. We actually hadn't agreed on it at the time I read the statement. we're going to announce a date where we're going to respond to this. And once we announce it, Candace is free to attend in person. That is what we announced. And so once we agreed on a time, I announced what the time was going to be. Candace, for her part, had said, you name the time, you name the place. That is what we did. As for why it was put out at that time, I would just say I don't think she had any difficulty in finding out what our scheduled time was. It seems everyone found it out quite quickly. And lastly, on the point of why it's in person, I think it's pretty intuitive that given what is being said, what the way this has worked is that it's critical to be in person if you want to be authentic and to be detailed.
Why?
Why?
Like, I don't think that's intuitive at all.
There's a whole space that's all built around virtual conversations.
Yeah. I mean, Russ and I, we've met in person, what, 10 times, 15 times? We've known each other for years. Are you saying
worked
we're not
together
authentic?
for a couple of years before we met.
Before we've even met. Like, what are we all doing now? You're a podcaster. Like, the guy, your guest on the show right now is not there in person. So are you not being authentic with him? Like, what do you mean it's intuitive that you should be there in person? That doesn't even make any sense. It's like, it's a non-answer.
And that is what we think is a fair request to make if she's going to participate.
Why? Like, there's literally no reason why. And he doesn't even try to give a reason.
But regardless,
it
is going to go.
I mean, to be fair, she has no reason to worry about security with these guys.
Right. Well, yeah, this is another thing. Yeah, of course.
Go forward because we have agreed that some response needs to be made. And so that's going to happen when we announced it on December 15th.
Wow. So diligent, Dennison, once again. We believe you need to attend in person if you want to be authentic and detailed. He says this while Andrew Colvett is appearing virtually. Can't make this shit up. No, you certainly cannot. Certainly cannot. So here's Candace Owens responding to this. Says she's still willing to debate Turning Point USA and wants Erica Kirk present when it happens. She makes clear she will not show up in person without her own team there, saying she refuses to walk into a Turning Point ambush. She says she intends to ask every question she wants without being censored.
If that's ever in the history ever of people setting up debates, that's ever been how it's worked. That someone just arbitrarily picks a time and a place, and you admit you had no time and you did not have a date picked. So there was no reason you couldn't come to me and say, here's 2 dates that could work, and allowed me to do that. And by the way, I would still like for you guys to do that, okay? And one more thing that I want to put out there, because your 24-hour demand is ridiculous. It's silly. Okay, let's strip it. Let's not pretend that there's some buzzard that got hit. We can.
Well, this is the other thing that's so absurd about it. Okay, if you are insisting that she come out in person, then how could you give her only a day to respond? Right. So what? So, I mean, she has a family. She's married. She has, I don't know how many kids she has. But it's not easy for someone with a family to just like decide in a few hours. Okay, I guess I'm packing up and leaving that day. Like, if you're insisting that she show up in person, you got to give her more than a day's notice. Like, it's like the way they're handling this is just so chicken shit. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's also so stupid because clearly they never had any intention of debating her.
Right, exactly.
So why even choose to go online and make that kind of a statement? Did you really think this was going to work?
Right. Why
better
even
not
do this
to have
whole
said
thing?
Anything.
Better to just, when you're ready to rebut her, just come out and do it. Don't make this whole show of, yeah, we know she said things and in 2 weeks we're going to answer her. She's invited if she's willing to appear in person, and she has to let us know whether she's willing to fly out in person on this one day within 24 hours of us announcing. Like, it's insane. It's absolutely, they so obviously are and that's what Jimmy said. You're ducking again. You're obviously ducking a guest. If you were going to duck her, then you shouldn't have made a big ceremony out of this.
Right.
Just come out and say, here's what she said, here's why it's not true, and that's it. And then she'll respond, and then you'll, whatever happens after that, it happens. But this was just completely botched.
Let's not pretend that there's some buzzard that got hit. We can still make this work, and I would like to make this work, and I would especially like to make this work if you are saying or implying that Erica Kirk is going to be there. Because the reality is that would be a game changer. I think that's a game changer. I think it would be very powerful to have her there, to represent the viewpoints in a way that they're maybe not being shared by Blake Neff, who is incredibly unlikable, and speaks down to people. And I don't know why he does that. It's not coming across clearly from your spokesperson, Andrew Kolvat, who seems to be on the road and isn't course correcting in the attitudes that are coming out, or at least telling people not to be like late night tweeting like Tyler Boyer. And yeah, it would be great if you are saying that on the 15th, Erica Kirk, as you are insinuating that she's going to be there, right? She's directing this thing. Are you implying here that she's going to actually be in the chair and she's willing to allow me to bring things and to go over timelines and stuff? Like, can you make that offer through the proper channels? Can you actually say that, since you now have more details about how it's going to work, and reopen that offer again? There's no way in hell that George can make the 15th work. I just said it. No, he shut it down immediately, and for a very valid reason. And it is not my inclination to go to Phoenix without having my team with me. And my husband is very much a part of my team. But I will say that I will raise it further with the Supreme Court of George Farber. If you are
her husband
insinuating, and actually if you can confirm that you are saying that you will allow me, as you said further in this, to bring whatever it is, because it would be more authentic if it was face to face. If you're saying that I don't have to deal with you, and this is actually going to be very open and I can ask every question under the sun, I might beg, I might beg. So I would love to hear from Turning Point USA, and stop pretending 24 hours was some demand that had to be met, because that's ridiculous. So ball very much back into your court. And like I said, I want to make this happen. I still think you guys can open it up for a live stream. You're doing that right now. That seems ridiculous as well. Let's make this work for the people.
Of course it's ridiculous. So she's saying she's going to see if she can make it work so she can fly her husband out there with her.
Yeah, they'll find another excuse.
No, they'll find something else.
So now getting that backstory. All right, man. So this guy Neff, it's very typical. You get people who are below the line, who want to be above the line. They want to be in front of the camera. They don't have the temperament for it. They don't have the mind for it. They don't have the skill set for it. And it's a fucking disaster. That's what that looks like to me now, getting that backstory, that he's a behind the scenes producer guy who now is my time to shine.
Right.
And this is the result. He clearly does not have the skill set to be in front of the camera and to be making these kinds of decisions, or you never would have gone in front of a camera to throw down a gauntlet like that. You don't write a check your ass can't cash. And they had to have known in advance there's no way we're debating her.
Right.
Somebody with Charlie's media skills would have known that. He never would have made that kind of a mistake. That's why you were behind the camera, dummy.
Yeah, exactly. So here's Crowder CEO, this is a guy who works on the Steven Crowder show, says, why doesn't she just drop everything and get in a plane? This is her only focus, and getting answers requires a plane ride, and that's too much to ask. Well, you can't just drop everything and get on a plane when you have a family, which your boss would have known something about had he not put himself in this situation. Here he is on camera. Are you put on some gloves? Are you committed enough to do those things? I don't want to derail the segment and play this video, but that's him berating his pregnant wife, pregnant with twins, into putting gloves on so she can bend over and pick up dog shit while he sits on his ass and smokes a cigar on a couch. So he's not in a situation where he has to consult with family before. He could just get on a plane anytime he wants, because that's how he acted when he had a family, a wife and a family on the way. But Candace Owens actually does have family obligations, which, as a family man myself, I totally sympathize with her putting them first, just on a spiritual level. But there's another element to this too here that I think is kind of hidden in plain sight. Okay, what's her husband's name? George. Okay, if I'm George, if my wife did what I do for a living, and my wife was neck deep in all of this really scary shit, There is not a fucking chance in hell I'm letting her get on an airplane and fly 1,000 miles away to go stare down the people who are at the center of this, controversy. Not because I'm necessarily I don't think Turning Point is going to poison her drink. But there are fucking maniacs out there who feel very strongly about this. As we're learning every day, you got maniacs driving outside Tim Pool's house, and a guy just got caught making serious threats against Ben. Like, you got maniacs out there. So if I'm Candace Owens' husband, I'm saying no. I'm going with you wherever you go. You're not just getting on a plane and flying out to meet these people because they're fucking whack jobs out there. So it's a safety issue. Like, yeah, if you're a family, I understand. Like, the family wants to stick together through this. You're not just going to get on a plane and go. That seems pretty fucking obvious to me. And so why you would give them a 24-hour time window to, like, get the family together to decide whether or not this one date works, and it has to be this one date, it's just such obvious bullshit. It's just obvious cowardice that they never wanted to make it work to begin with. And anybody who doesn't understand where Candace Owens is coming from probably doesn't have a family themselves, or is probably just shilling for TPUSA, who clearly never wanted this to happen in the first place.
Yeah. Any solution that she offers, they're going to throw up another problem. They are not going to sit down with her and debate Charlie's magic neck bone. They're not going to do it.
Right. Exactly. Like, what do you say to that? What do you say to that? What is the answer to that? What are they curious about? Why George Zinn was there and why he was screaming like he was the guiltiest man alive?
Right.
The cops accused him.
They know she's going to eat them alive.
Of course. This is why, like, I can't vouch for every single thing she said, but she's provided enough receipts, and she's putting herself out there in a way that is just suicidal from a career standpoint if she's just making this up. And I don't think she is. And I think they know that.
Well, and also they're reliant on Zionist money. When she pulls out those texts of Charlie's before his death, talking about how he's afraid Israel was going to kill him, how do they answer that?
How do they answer that?
There's no upside to having that debate, which is why he never should have said it.
Right. Exactly. All right. Nina Kant says, I got one. Russell, bye, Felicia, or you got knocked the F out. Thank you, Nina Kant. Eric Rousseau says, watching porn on your phone, you lose the chance for a real experience, the experience of a nasty, sticky adult theater. Thank you. Appreciate that. Cool Blue says, one battle after another won 2025 Best Picture from National Board of Review, LA Film Critics Association, and New York Film Critics Circle. Best Actress with all three, Rose Byrne. If I had legs, I'd kick you. Thank you, Cool Blue. See, Cool Blue knows all the movie stats, too. No, I mean, that movie's just going to sweep everything, I think. I mean, there's really nothing that's coming
Yeah, maybe I'll watch it on our day off tomorrow. I haven't been able to get to it.
Although that, what is coming out before New Year's is The Voice of Hin Rajab. So that'll be qualified for awards.
Oh, right.
So, I mean, obviously, I hope that wins everything. Even if it's not good, I hope it wins everything for obvious reasons. But that is coming out this year, so it will be, I guess, up for consideration for these things. Let's see. Eric Rousseau says Blake Neff lost his last job as a writer for Tucker Carlson because he was found out to be a virulent racist. Yeah, I heard that. I hadn't looked into that. I heard that right before we went on. I saw a tweet about that. But yeah, I mean, that's not shocking. Not at all. All right. You want to take some YouTube super chats?
All right. Wasim Garani, Amazon purchased MGM. Where is the uproar? There was no uproar about it because at that point you're buying a content library. MGM was a barely functioning studio. It was not Warner Brothers, which has a functioning movie slate going on. They're really functioning, buying the back catalog. BMK. Geez, if this merger goes through, we'll just get sequels and reboots from now on. Oh, wait. Yeah, exactly. Axel Strife, I hope that Iron Lung shines in its limited release.
Yeah.
Yes. I've been waiting for that one. Muzal Ghanim, my favorite duo.
Thank you, Muzal. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
For the $50. FU 9375 in person to be unalive by TPUSA. FOH. Yeah, well, that's what she's saying. Like, she's like, yeah, there's no way I'm going without my team. Doesn't just mean our husband.
No,
it's
you
like
gotta,
our security.
Yeah. Of course.
Now,
obviously.
We're booking the accused in our Zio court. Yeah. Is that guy Jewish? He's not Jewish, is he?
Is he? I don't know.
Brad Gilbert, Neff. It is intuitive to assassinate in person. Yeah. Exactly.
All right, we'll move right along. Oh, by the way, just so everybody understands, Steven Crowder and his wife got divorced shortly after that video
Good for her.
surfaced for obvious
Good for
reasons.
her. I was wondering, actually.
That's what that. Yeah, because
I
don't
was
think
wondering, is she still with that asshole?
No, I didn't clarify that. I'm gonna have to edit this into the end of the video. Yeah, when I said that's why he doesn't have a family, because they separated after that. Because obviously, that's not a way to keep a woman, is to guilt her into picking up dog shit when she's 8.5 months pregnant with twins while you smoke a cigar. That is. I don't know what marriage counselor you went
to. That's those
but
family values we keep hearing.
Yeah,
about.
Those are those family values.
Yeah.
Exactly. We covered that actually when it happened, so you can watch the whole segment if you want more information. Okay, we will move right on along here. All right, I got to read this off my phone because it's a smaller text. But all right, okay. So as Turning Point is getting ready to rebut Candace Owens' wild conspiracy theories surrounding the Charlie Kirk shooting, I just want to remind you of this. This is the text exchange which the FBI gave to the Utah prosecutors. This tweet dated September 16th. This is the totally credible text exchange between Tyler Robinson and his trans furry lover, who texts him, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson says, "I am. I'm sorry." Roommate says, "I thought they caught the person." "No, they grabbed some crazy dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of the side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there is one vehicle lingering. Why? Why did I do it? Yeah, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out." So again, he's saying when he did it, how he did it, why he did it, all very conveniently laid out in this text exchange, and nobody buys this. Not even the right-wing media people buy this. So Kash Patel goes on the Megyn Kelly show, and she actually asks him about this text exchange. And notice he does not vouch for it as definitively as you might think.
Can I ask you, Kash, the text messages between Tyler Robinson and his roommate Lance Twiggs, the reason a lot of people think Tyler didn't do it is because they sound kind of fake. You know, the wording just sounds a little strange. Like, I thought they caught the person, or no, you weren't the one who did it, right? I am. I'm sorry. They go on from there. Why did I do it? Yeah, I had enough of his hatred, and so on. Do you have any reason to believe that text exchange was not real between them for whatever reason, potentially even having been orchestrated between the two of them?
Look, I understand the emotion behind this case. Charlie was my friend. He was your friend. He was assassinated in the most brutal way in a public forum where he was trying to have engagement with the youth of the United States of America. And while I was representing the White House at Ground Zero in New York City on 9/11, we made the decision to pivot immediately and fly out to Utah to make sure we executed this manhunt. We went out there. The FBI seized the
I made
video
sure
evidence,
before I got off the
and,
plane, I had my jacket and my patches.
Yeah, exactly.
But once I had that, I got off the plane, as you know.
Yes, once I looked the part, I agreed to do my job.
Put it out to the public immediately. And then this individual was caught in 33 hours. And so I understand that there's so much charged emotion on the other evidence that was collected, the notes that you were talking about, the text message. Excuse me. And we present that information to the prosecutors to make the determination based on the evidence we have as to whether or not they were real. I can't stylize or comment on it because it's an ongoing investigation.
Wait a minute. So you're saying you gave them to the prosecutors to make the determination whether they're real or not? Well, if they're not real, where'd they come from? Like you came in possession of them, right? And then you gave them.
Seized the video evidence and put it out to the public immediately. and then this individual was caught in 33 hours. And so I understand that there's so much charged emotion on the other evidence that was collected, the notes that you were talking about, the text message, excuse me. And we present that information to the prosecutors to make the determination based on the evidence we have as to whether or not they were real. I can't stylize or comment on it because it's an ongoing investigation, but I don't believe the prosecutors in the state of Utah would be using any piece of information or evidence that was not credible.
Okay, so that's his answer. Notice not oh yeah, no, those are real. He seemed much more confident that those were real back in September. So Director Kash Patel, he had a text message exchange with another individual, which he claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for. Seems much more confident a few months ago that these were real.
FBI director is not to speak to motive, is to speak to the facts. And that's what I'm going to do. His family has collectively told investigators that he subscribed to left-wing ideology, and even more so in these last couple of years. And he had a text message exchange, he the suspect, with another individual, in which he claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for. Those are factually accurate investigatory findings by the FBI that we've handed over to the local authorities and the federal authorities to make their prosecutorial decisions.
Okay, so assuming you're talking about the same exchanges, I don't know of any other text exchange that has been talked about. It seems like you're talking about that because he says in the text exchange with the lover that I just couldn't deal with his hatred. You just described those as factual findings by the FBI. Back that tape up.
Claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for. Those are factually accurate investigatory findings by the FBI that we've handed over to the local authorities and the federal authorities to make their prosecutorial decisions.
Okay, so he seems pretty confident that those are real back in September, but now he won't confirm that to Megyn Kelly. And if you gave that information to the prosecutors, then isn't it reasonable to discern that you discovered that, which he's pretty much saying he found it. He's saying these are the FBI's findings. These are factually accurate. We gave them to the prosecutors. But 3 months later, he doesn't seem too keen to back that up. He doesn't seem so sure of himself at this point.
He also blames Utah.
Yeah. And
it's kind of a pattern with these guys.
Yeah.
I fully back those people who produced this. I fully back the admiral who bombed the boat.
Yeah. So which is it? Seems extraordinarily incompetent. So J.N. says Charlie Kirk cover-up, Epstein cover-up, JFK cover-up, 9/11 cover-up, Trump shooting cover-up, National Guard shooting cover-up, and countless other cover-ups in America. Why is this such a common occurrence in the USA? Surely with such expertise in forensics, technology, etc., the American authorities should be able to investigate these incidents with precision and pinpoint the perpetrators. You would think so. You know, this has been a theme of this administration. They really seized on Americans' distrust of institutions, right? Be it law enforcement institutions, political institutions, public health institutions. And what they are doing is what Steve Bannon said the goal was, which is to just dismantle the administrative state. In other words, not to restore confidence in the institutions, but to take advantage in how weakened they have become to just cut the legs out from them altogether and just burn the whole thing down. That's clearly what we are getting here. We're not getting a restoration of trust. How could you trust what Kash Patel is saying now? He's saying we just showed you, essentially asked the same thing 3 months apart. He vouches for their authenticity in September and now says, well, you know, it's not our problem anymore. We passed that on to Utah. Now it's their call. All of the questions surrounding this. This is so emblematic of how this has gone, which is this is not a restoration. It's not like we are making the FBI trustworthy again. They're doing to every institution what they did literally to the Department of Education, which is just sabotage it and render it irrelevant, render it meaningless, just basically get rid of it. I mean, you don't have a functional FBI right now. And the handling of this case is just about all the evidence you need to make that assessment.
It's kind of incredible how unqualified everyone in this administration is. And I'm certainly not making the MS or MS Now. I almost said MSNBC, the MS Now channel would make that, oh, the previous administrations had the norms and guardrails and everything was great. But there was a basic level of technocratic competence that is not even there. They don't even seem to feel a need to make the cover up look good, nor do they seem to have the competence to know how to go about that. These are all people who were hired for the quality of having no shame and absolutely no potential that they would ever disobey Donald Trump and his circle's orders. That's it. That's it. Kash Patel got hired more, I promise you, for writing a children's book in which he cast himself as a wizard protecting King Donald than for any other qualification. That showed what shit will this guy not eat? What order would he not follow? A guy that craven that he would write this great, just absolutely insane children's book about the wise King Donald. And he's proven that point. And that's why it's not like all of a sudden this came out. When in his hearings, he was lying through his teeth. He denied knowing a podcaster he did 8 interviews with. And he still had a lot of people gassing him up like he's going to go in and clean up the FBI. If you read his book, Government Gangsters, it was very clear that if he were put in that position, he would just go after Donald Trump's enemies, because that was his entire interpretation of the deep state, that the problem with the deep state is their libs.
Right. Exactly. All right, folks. Hey, it's Sunday night. Tomorrow's Monday, which means a new episode of the Grifter's Bible premieres at the El Shaboom's YouTube channel. El Shaboom's is a dissident sponsor of ours. The Grifter's Bible is the mind-bending novel, which is a free weekly series on YouTube with a soundtrack by Monumental Sonic Architecture. Follow the First Electric Church of Jesus Christ as they combine the bleeding edge of black patented neuroscience with the state-of-the-art in Michigas to beat the Great Recession. They sell visions of God to the huddled masses of Deep Ellum, Texas, and the money pours in until the local competition, the police, and the U.S. Navy decide to put a stop to it. There's ass-whoopings, car chases, and a showdown at high noon on Good Friday in Dodge City. It's a sci-fi noir. It's a picaresque thriller. It's a Western from 10 minutes in the future. It's a film series by El Shaboom's called The Grifter's Bible, soundtrack by Monumental Sonic Architecture. A new episode is posted every Monday at that link, youtube.com/@El Shaboom. So go and subscribe and catch a new episode tomorrow. All right, Jake, you want to hit the scroll, please? All righty, folks. Hey, if you like what we do here and you want to help us do more of it, the best way you could do that is by becoming a member at dudissidents.com/Patreon/Substack or /Locals. Membership starts at $5 a month. You get Film Club live streams, post-game live streams, ad-free replays of every live stream the day after it airs publicly, emailed to you so you can watch it free of commercial interruption at your own leisure. And you also get call-in access to our weekly Q&As, which happen every Sunday night after the main show over on Rumble. Tonight is Sunday, so we will be going over to Rumble for the Q&A after the show. All are welcome to watch. Members are welcome to call in. So we look forward to hearing from some of our callers this evening after the main show. Well, that's dudissidents.com/Patreon/Substack or /Locals. You guys are, of course, the backbone of the show. We thank you, as always, for your support. All right, we'll take some Rumble rants here while the scroll goes. Stoop Sign says the unlikable goofball half hour with Blake Neff. Yeah, exactly. Professor Brown notes, so on Fox, Lindsay Halligan is a special assistant to the president. Why not just as Monica Lewinsky was a White House cigar diplomacy envoy? Thank you, Professor Brown note. Appreciate that. Kemen G says Mike McRae as Kash Patel. Your question in my work, do you have a windbreaker that says FBI on it? Did he do another sketch? I didn't see the Jimmy stream on, when does he do it? Wednesday, yeah. Did he do another one more recently? I gotta watch that. Those are fun. Eric Rousseau says, seems Cash Patel was more confident before the jacket and patches conspiracy. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Eric Rousseau. All right, let's, you want to take some super chats?
Sure. Michael Ewan, member for 16 months. Thank you, Michael. Turning Point just threw a pro-redistricting rally in Indiana to gerrymander House seats 9-0. They vowed to throw so much money, no PAC can offset it. Yeah, well, I was reading something today about Jane Fonda. Apparently wrote an op-ed about the Netflix Warner Brothers takeover, about the threat to democracy, and I literally laughed out loud. Like, yeah, we have a democracy. Sure, Jane. We have a democracy. Why? What happened to Hanoi Jane? Jane used to be based.
Right.
Be based back in the day. Queen of the Furrows. You can't write a check your ass can't cash. Title of tonight's episode, surely. No. I've already got a title. Keaton will never take it. He's more conservative about these things than I am. After the next two segments, I'm sure you will agree the title of the podcast release should be White Bitches Be Buggin'.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That is my choice for title. Mark Pugliese, shouldn't it be you shouldn't write a check your ass can't cover? Why would you write a check to yourself for cash? It's best not to think about these things too much. It sounds right. It sounds right.
All right, let's go on. All right, this is a two-parter, kind of. This is a theme.
It's kind of a two-parter. White bitches be bugging two-parter.
Yes.
All right, so you might remember a few months ago, Sydney Sweeney did a big ad that broke the internet. Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Okay, so that was for American Eagle. And while you did have some of the kind of people who get paid to have a take, putting out the take, it's a dark reminder of history, and, it's a wink and a nod to kind of eugenics and white supremacy. Average rank and file people on the ground pretty much had this take. What bothers me about the Sydney Sweeney ad is that Donald Trump's name appears on over 100,000 Epstein documents. My take on Sydney Sweeney is this: Donald Trump is a PDF file. The craziest thing about the Sydney Sweeney controversy is that Trump won't release the Epstein files because he knows he's in them. So these two things kind of serendipitously happened around the same time. Nothing to see here on the Epstein files and this ad coming out. And I must say it was a great example of these patriots and MAGA grifters trying to create a controversy and a backlash that really did not exist. Like most people on the left, this was their take. This is what you really saw going around. There was no massive backlash to these ads. But then it got tied into this. Apparently, and this is something I didn't even know about until the MAGA chuds tried to tie this all together. Every year, these sororities, the major ones, put out these dance videos for Rush Week. And it's a whole thing. There's a whole sorority TikTok where they try to have their videos go viral with these dance sequences. But this was the take that you saw, as if they specifically made these videos to celebrate white beauty and reclaim their whiteness. They had not stopped doing this before. They do it every year. It's just nobody really knew about it outside of this world. Patriot Oasis, breaking. Sorority at the University of Alabama is going viral for wearing jeans in their latest recruiting video. Sydney Sweeney has opened the door for women across America to celebrate pure American beauty.
Shoot it into my veins.
Yeah, no, it's a good thing that they stopped featuring beautiful white women in the media. It's a good thing they went away for a while and now they're back. And what he's saying is also not true. They're not really wearing jeans. And what jeans are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, I don't see no jeans. I see some denim tops.
I see some denim tops, which it looks like was probably part of the wardrobe.
Right.
Like that doesn't read to me like something they added in response to the Sydney Sweeney ads. It seems like they're a bunch of girls who dress that way in general.
It's perversion. It's sick. It's degenerate.
It's sick.
I'm doing my own sound drops now so that I don't have to risk
Yeah,
a
there you
technical
go.
meltdown like what happened last time. I'm going to be my own soundboard.
USA News breaking. This sorority recruitment video is going viral after liberal women lashed out. What do you notice? Now, you know what I notice? That they couldn't produce any examples of liberal women lashing out.
Yeah.
That's what I noticed. They're very fond, libs of TikTok, all those sites, couldn't produce examples of that. They kept telling you it was happening, but these channels that really specialize in finding the craziest kindergarten teacher on TikTok couldn't seem to find anybody who gave two shits about Sydney Sweeney right at the same time that the Trump administration decided to try to shut down the Epstein files.
Yeah, I noticed those girls seem kind of old for Donald Trump. That's what I know. That's what
they're way out of his price.
Yeah.
Price rate. Well, that too. Video alert in the United States. The Alpha Phi sorority at Arizona State University is setting the web on fire with its new jeans video, a celebration of feminine beauty that has leftists howling. What fucking jeans?
Yeah. What jeans?
Telling you, don't believe what you see, believe what we say. But I did a piece on this at the time, and this was basically my take. It's a they live thing. Woke is dead, die for Israel. Right?
Yeah.
Right. There's all a distraction, all to channel you into supporting this Zionist agenda. So now, Sydney Sweeney, a few weeks ago, she did an interview where she was asked very specifically about the coding of that ad and some of the backlash. And wow, man, the chuds ate this up with a spoon. They shot it into their veins. So here it is.
T-shirt like every day of my life.
Jeans are uncontroversial. Jeans are awesome.
Yeah, I like your jeans.
You look great in your jeans. I think I know how you're going to answer this, but I'm going to ask anyway. I mean, the president tweeted about the jeans ad, or Truth Socialed about the jeans ad, and that just seems to me like a very crazy moment for anyone, and I wondered what that was like.
It was surreal.
It was surreal.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be totally human. I would probably feel like thankful that somebody had my back in public, and conveniently some very powerful people had my back in public. And I wondered if you felt that way.
I don't think that it's not that feeling I didn't have that feeling, but I wasn't thinking of it like that, or like of any of it. I kind of just put my phone away. I was filming every day. I'm filming Euphoria, so I'm working like 16-hour days, and I don't really bring my phone on set, so I work and then I go home and I go to sleep. So I didn't really see a lot of it.
You've made a really good case.
By the way, your chin is kind of square.
Keeping your thoughts and your life separate from that work. But the risk is that,
I know you're not as pretty as me, but I know your chin is a little square.
There's a chance that somebody will get some idea about what you think about certain issues and feel like, I don't want to see Christy because of that. Like, do you worry about that?
No.
The criticism of the content, which was basically that maybe specifically in this political climate, like, white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. Like, that was kind of like the criticism, broadly speaking. And since you are talking about this, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about that specifically.
I think that when I have an issue that I want to speak about, people will hear.
Okay. So, wow, man, they really ate that up with a spoon. Desiree, Sydney Sweeney didn't take the bait. The interviewer came fishing for guilt. Sydney showed up with scissors and cut the line. Not today, bitch. Wow. Beefy vibes. You guys, I think I might have to stand Sydney Sweeney at this point. Interviewer asked, white people shouldn't have the feeling of genetic superiority. What do you think? I will talk about it if I have an issue with it. Now,
shoot it into my ass veins. Shoot it into my veins.
Did I say ass?
Did I say ass? I meant veins. I meant shoot it in not my ass, my veins.
All right. So this story, if there was ever any story that begged for a little meme play, it was this one. So I haven't done this in a while. I put together my own montage of people, including Dave Rubin. Sydney Sweeney, that was such a sexy moment for these people. Even Dave Rubin was coming all over himself.
Yeah,
Even a gay man was very excited about this. All right, so here's my video montage of the reactions.
Way that Sydney Sweeney was giving side eye to that girl as she was asking that guilt-ridden woke, like that was B. Arthur Rue McClanahan level side eye right there.
You know that.
Gay.
No, people don't have to engage in the performative social ritual of self-flagellation just to retain their careers.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
You could have just as easily done that with a hot black person. You could have just as easily done it with a hot Mexican.
Is your idiot brain getting fucked by stupid?
Sydney, do you want to denounce white supremacy?
Nope.
Nope.
No, not really.
Alrighty then. See you later.
Alrighty then.
Get those nerds! Nerd! Nerd!
Kind of a fucking shitty question to begin with. What you go, white people shouldn't joke about genetic superiority. It's like, well, everyone else should? what does that mean?
Look at the way you're dressed. You've turned an enjoyable little job that I did as a lark for a few years into a colossal waste of time.
And when they call you racist, the appropriate answer is not, no, I'm not racist. No, the appropriate answer is, well, oh, you think that? Well, I don't care that you think that.
A few moments later.
Sydney Sweeney is addressing the controversial American Eagles ad. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm always trying to bring people together. I'm against hate and divisiveness. In the past, my stance has been to never respond to negative or positive press, but recently, I have come to realize that my silence regarding this issue has only widened the divide and not closed it. So I hope this new year brings more focus on what connects us instead of what divides us.
Now you're in a situation for Sydney Sweeney where the people who, because you did an ad for jeans, who are calling you a Nazi, they don't care. They're not going to believe this. They're not going to believe you. But now you also have a different group of people who would have had your back and would have supported you that are now going to be rethinking that. And that's why when it comes to bending the knee to bullshit cancel campaigns like this, it's never going to work.
Cracker ass, cracker, I'll put my foot in the cracker ass, cracker.
Okay. All right. So this is what's really funny about what he's saying there. We would have your back if you stand up against the woke mob, right? But it's not going to work because they're never going to forgive you because you're white and you're pretty. Okay. All right. So Sydney Sweeney did actually get attacked for taking this role in this boxing movie by the very woke and kind of irrelevant Ruby Rose. You know, the only thing she ever did was like that terrible Batgirl series. For her PR to talk about it flopping and saying Sydney Sweeney did it for the people, none of the people want to see someone who hates them parading around pretending to be us, you know, because she's playing a lesbian. You're a cretin and you ruined the film, period. Christie deserved better. All right, so Christie herself didn't feel that way. So apparently I thought you're not supposed to speak to another person's experience. But if you really wanted to show that you support Sydney Sweeney, why didn't you guys go see this fucking movie? It wouldn't have flopped then, right? You're saying that if she keeps, pumping out the kind of content you guys want. Oh, but that's the thing. You only want her showing a lot of cleavage, acting like a dumb blonde, and giving you something to masturbate about in the absence of a real woman. Because according to the critics, you say there's a cancel campaign, right? You guys always talk about the woke critics. She was the best thing in it, according to the critics. David Michaud's conventional, this from Rotten Tomatoes, is GQ, but compelling biopic, which hinges on Sweeney's nuanced and physical performance. The movie wouldn't be nearly as good or unnerving without her. Laroshka Ivan Zeta from Metro UK. The script may not go deep enough into Christie's psyche, but Sweeney makes some powerful inroads. Sure, this is a showcase vehicle for her. And Mark Kermode, who I like, he's kind of known for being a very rough, like funnily nasty critic. Sydney Sweeney is very good in it. That's one of the toughest critics out there, Mark Kermode. He says she's very good in it. So why didn't you guys go see it? Oh, you're only fans if she portrays this very stereotyped, oversexed woman. Well, with fans like that, she doesn't need enemies, right? Maybe she wants to do something besides that. Sydney Sweeney, I've only really seen her in Euphoria. She's very good in that show. For Christie, she had to put on 30 pounds. And I've seen some of these channels talk about that and say, the truth is it bombed because nobody wanted to see her in that. Okay, well, so you're not a fan then. Like she did something that really played against her type, because clearly she wanted to show she could act. And according to the critics, she didn't embarrass herself. According to the critics, she was the best thing in the movie. So why didn't you go see it if you're saying you would support? And the wokies were going after her too.
Right.
Perfect opportunity to show your support. You didn't support her. So the interview she gave with People kind of addressing this is what Ryan Kinnell there was melting down about. Sydney Sweeney is addressing her highly publicized American Eagle denim ad in an emotional interview with People. I was honestly surprised by the reaction, Sweeney tells People. I did it because I love the jeans and I love the brand. I don't support the views some people chose to connect to the campaign. Many have assigned motives and labels to me that just aren't true. Sweeney tells People she's someone who leads with kindness and that she is addressing the campaign backlash to clarify her stance and dispel negativity. Now, a couple takes from around the internet that were pretty interesting. Liam Quain makes a good point here. Sydney Sweeney kept the placating silence up around the Nazi messaging because she mistakenly thought she would benefit from right-wing cultural power. The issue with that plan is that the right wing doesn't have cultural power, nor can it. This is because the right can't create. Listen, I am sorry, but as somebody who has read through literally thousands of script submissions, it's fucking true. I always, even back then in the pre-woke era, everything you got was from a left point of view. I wanted to produce conservative scripts just for variety. I thought it would be interesting. And they were all terrible. I would get them sometimes. They were fucking terrible. They were terrible. Like, if you look at the world that way, it's just not a perspective that lends itself to good art. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. I mean, that's you can just see, you really don't have to be an expert in the arts to know that. Like, show me great right-wing art.
Right,
show
right.
like, where is it? Brandon Bradford. You would not hear this retraction and article from Sydney Sweeney if her projects weren't all flopping. Yeah, I think that's probably true. And you want to see how desperate she is. That's what she just put on Instagram. She's desperate enough to bring out the guns. She's bringing out the guns. She has another movie opening. That's why she's making the rounds right now. And I'm sure her management and her agent said, listen, if this one bombs, you're going from the kind of A list to the C or D list if you have another bomb. So she is really pulling out all the stops. She's pulling out all the stops to try to get people to go see this next movie because that could be the end of her career. Now, overall, my take on her silence with this, I don't know that she was really trying to exploit it because she certainly could have done things that she did not do if she really wanted to get to be the MAGA queen. I think she legit didn't want to get into this kind of thing and she just wanted to be an actor. I think choosing to do a movie like Christie in the middle of that kind of attention that obviously is about the aforementioned guns and her sexuality indicates you really want to play to that. At the same time, is it true that she's addressing it now because she feels like she has to, because her career is right about to fall off a cliff if this next movie bombs? Yeah, sure. She was happy at the very least not to say anything about it. And in spite of the dumb blonde thing, by all accounts, she's pretty smart. Like she knew what was going on there. She chose just not to get into it. I think what you're looking at is career savvy, or what she thought was career savvy, and perhaps moral cowardice. But certainly, why is she addressing it now? What, you just noticed that a bunch of cracker-ass crackers have adopted that ad as totemic to their white supremacist ideology? Yeah, of course she's addressing it because she's afraid one more bomb and she's out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the reason she gave that non-answer was because she misread the cultural moment, like she did.
Sure.
Like she thought there was a critical mass of people who are going to, beat up on her if she comes out and says, yeah, no, I'm obviously not a Nazi. It's a jeans ad. Like that's all she had to say in that answer to that other woman, the clip that went viral. She could say, yeah, no, I didn't think of it as making a joke about white superiority or genetic superiority. I just thought it was a play on words because I'm a pretty girl. I have good genes. So that's what it's about. Of course, I'm not a Nazi or a white supremacist, but she didn't say that.
Right.
And the reason she didn't say that is because she sensed that the culture had shifted to the point where had she said that, she'd get more shit than credit.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And now what she realizes, no. Actually, the public generally isn't really cool with movie stars playing footsie with neo-Nazis, like courting their approval. I'm still better off just clarifying, hey, I'm not a virulent racist. And in doing so, she forfeited the sort of MAGA heroine throne.
Yeah, who weren't going to see her movies anyway.
Right, who wouldn't even support her anyway unless she, I mean, you know what this reminds me of? Remember
These
when
people
Charlize
are not
Theron...
known for leaving their houses.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, you remember when Charlize Theron did that movie Monster? She won an Oscar for that. That's what this kind of like reminds me of. Just like a classically beautiful woman, shedding all that for a role to actually act and actually be noticed for something other than her looks. And nobody noticed. Even the people who wanted to have your back to get a big culture war win, they didn't want it that bad.
No.
All right. Let's move on right along here. Ken G says Jane Fonda has not been based for a long time. She infamously refused to defend Vanessa Redgrave against anti-Semitism allegations back in the day.
Oh, is that true?
I didn't know that. I did not know that. Thank you, Ken G. Viandicus Prime says, I'm going to say it again. It's so interesting that all these people with Free Palestine act like Israeli Zionists. All these people with Free Palestine act exactly like Israel. Like who? Who are you talking about? All right. Well, you take some. We got any super chats there?
Sure.
Got a few.
Axel Strife, Charlie's BS factory taken over by Patel. Brad Gilbert, say 33 once more, Cash.
Yeah.
No Cash, South Park. What the fuck? I'm sure that's coming.
Yeah, that would be funny.
I'm sure that's coming. They just did the Hexeth things. They got to get around to Cash. Wasim Garani. Didn't Ruby Rose get replaced by an African-American Batwoman? Yeah, the lesbian Batwoman was not woke enough for them. So the next one was, I believe, black and lesbian. I think they went for more Infinity Stones of wokeness with the next casting.
There should be should be a butch lesbian Batwoman drives around in a
Ruby Rose kind of was
repurposed
that.
Chevy Silverado. With the little wings on the back of it. Yeah.
Well, this is one of those Hollywood legends. They shot a whole Batwoman movie that they decided it would be more profitable to take the tax loss on than to release. Like Michael Keaton was in it, and they according to accounts, they literally erased the footage so that it could never get released, so nobody could leak it. Yeah.
Wow, that is something. All right, why don't we move right on along here? All right,
That's like, can you imagine that actress?
Yeah. That's brutal.
You put down a down payment on a house.
Yeah.
That's almost as bad as Kevin Costner. We actually talked about that movie last week, The Big Chill. He had a role in that movie as the guy who self-deleted that they all got together for the funeral. That's the premise of the movie. They cut all of his scenes. All you see of Kevin Costner is the wrists in the coffin.
Wow. Well, that's Adrian Brody. That happened to
How
Adrian
does that
Brody.
not break you, man? How does that
It's
not
crazy.
break you?
And Adrian Brody was not a star at the time, but he was in the Thin Red Line, the Terrence Malick movie about World War II on the Pacific. It came out the same year as Saving Private Ryan. And, Terrence Malick is known to just drastically change his movies in the editing. He'll write a long script and then he'll just completely cut it to pieces. So, Adrian Brody had the lead in the script. And when they shot the movie, he was the lead character.
Right.
He was the main character, central focus of the film.
Right.
And when they edited down, he turned into basically an extra. Like, he basically had hardly any lines. They focused instead on, I think, the George Clooney character or something. But Malick, prick that he was, apparently did not tell Adrian Brody that. So Adrian Brody goes to the premiere of the film thinking he's the star of the film. thinking this is his night. And he watches it, and it turns out he's been turned into just basically a background extra. Yeah, pretty crazy story.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Bitches be bugging, part 2. All right. So this video went viral. There is good news to this, because when you compare this to the Shiloh Hendricks thing, you can see how much momentum this is losing. So this is Susie Rizzio. This couple from Somalia walked into a Cinnabon to buy food, and the employees started making fun of the woman's hijab. So they took out their phone and started recording. Then she called them the N-word and admitted to being a racist. She continued to say derogatory things to them too. Honestly, if I were a white woman, I might do the same. I mean, this is almost becoming a retirement plan for these people.
Yeah.
To make sure they film it and put it on TikTok if you want to make big money on Give, Send, Go. But here's the footage.
Your body makes you a better person.
Are you recording? I'm gonna record you. Yes.
Do you want me to throw water on you? I am racist.
So idiot, for
and
real.
You are an
idiot. No,
I
I'm
am
not.
racist, and I'll say that to the whole entire world. Don't be disrespectful.
All right, so she did say the N-word there. The video cuts it in half, as they should.
You ruin your life, by the way.
Oh, you talking about respect? You're talking about respect? You are fired from this place, man. You're not gonna be working here. Sackwag. Look how you talking about ugliness?
Did I stutter?
You're the ugliest person I ever seen in my life.
Good.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not.
Because you know damn well you're a
That's
fucking
respect.
evil
That's
fuck.
respect. Keep squeezing that caramel, bitch. Get the fuck out of here.
Keep squeezing that caramel, bitch. That's good. The Somalis are funny. Who knew the Somalis were so funny?
They are fun. They're killing with the meme
Squeezing
play.
That's the name of the episode. Keep squeezing that caramel, bitch. That's gonna be the name of the episode. They're funny, man. They're great. I didn't know. Who knew? Who knew Somalis were so funny?
Knew? Cinnabon. We've seen the disturbing video from the Cinnabon Bakery in Ashwaubenon, Wisconsin, and we do not condone this behavior. The former employee was immediately terminated by the franchise owner. Their actions do not reflect our values or the welcoming experience every guest deserves. This was pretty funny.
This is great.
Rich, I am a daily customer. I will never buy another Cinnabon after you fired that lady who was harassed by foreigners trying to do her job. This is America, and we stand with Americans. And Will Monica quote tweeted it. I am a daily Cinnabon customer.
Who would admit they're a daily Cinnabon customer?
Dude, what do those things have? Like 7,500 calories?
I'm a daily
How do you
Cinnabon
eat one of those every day? Like that's got to exceed your
fucking-
daily allowance of calories by itself.
Great.
Cinnabon.
Good catch by Will Maneker, co-host of Chapo Trap House, one of the OGs. Yeah, that was a good.
All
I'm a
right.
daily Cinnabon customer.
This is Paul Zippola. He's kind of a wannabe patriot. He's a wannabe patriot, but he what he does here is what they're all trying to do. Like it's hard to justify, and that video cut up a lot of things we wouldn't really be able to feature anyway. She used the N-word more than once in that video. It's very hard to defend that. It's very hard, to make a white supremacist argument with the crackhead Cinnabon lady here. It's hard to make a master race argument. So they've been taking the beginning of the video out of context and claiming she's been harassed. Cinnabon employee in Wisconsin was harassed by Somalis for sexualizing her body, which made her launch into a vulgar rant against them. The video of her cursing has gone viral, but not the video that led up to it. Yes, it has. The whole video is viral.
Oh,
the Somalis
cursing.
provoked her. Visit her GoFundMe and donate to her. Okay, so according to the context, the whole reason they start filming her is because she was attacking the woman for wearing a hijab. So that's why they're saying you like sexualizing your body. It's not something they would have brought up on their own. Right. Obviously, there's a cultural difference there. This is why the women are wearing hijabs. That's America, baby. Ain't that America? You don't bring that shit up, and you don't bring. Everybody goes their own way, right? It's not any of anyone's business. But she did provoke it. Why else would they just pull out a phone like that?
Right, of course.
But look at how this scumbag clipped it to demonstrate this to people.
Your body makes you a better person.
Are you recording?
I'm gonna record you. Yes.
Do you want me to throw water on you?
None of the N-word, none of that, none of the content. Oh yeah, no, they just walked up and started harassing the crackhead working behind the counter at the Cinnabon.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what
a hijab. Yeah, that happens every day.
And I'm sure given all of the shit that the Somalis are getting from the government and the president and all the harassment and the bullying, I'm sure that's what they want to do. They want to go to the malls and start fights with Cinnabon vendors for no reason. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what they want to do.
Sputnik,
their life is so easy now. Yeah, it's too easy now.
Yeah, no, they just want to start shit at malls.
Yeah.
The Somalian couple achieved their goal of getting Cinnabon in Wisconsin to fire their employee Crystal. I don't think they needed to do much. I mean, she did it all on her own. A white, hard-working mom. There's what drug-addicted white women call the Shiloh retirement plan.
Yeah.
It sure seems like they were antagonizing her in the full video. Oh, it does it? We are tired. Oh, man. Times is hard. Times is hard for the whites. Be a shame if anyone donates and helps. Eric Doherty, of course, he has to try to get in on some of that money. Mr. Sodagate. Mr. Sodagate. Cinnabon fired a woman who went off on Somalis in the store. And many conservatives are accusing the recorders of instigating the incident. A lot of this country is done with the racism and Islamophobia hysteria. The left did this. Now the left, really, the left is creating this tension, really, the left. So is Representative Andy Ogles, who put this out about Zora Mandani, is he on the left? This man came to America for one reason, to turn America into an Islamic theocracy. I say no to Sharia law, which is why I've presented an argument to have Mamdani sent back to Uganda based on information he clearly withheld. I'm fighting to take our country back. Is he on the left? You don't feel he's stirring up this kind of Islamophobic hysteria? He's not stirring that up? I am yes, you are no. Trump about Somalis. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks. They're garbage. No lies told, simply telling it as it is. I don't think any of these people are on the left who are creating these problems. I don't see any people on the left causing these problems. Support our white patriots who are being destroyed by the invaders. Show them we scorn their attempts to destroy our own. Stand with Crystal. Now, it's kind of amazing to me that you got all of these white people who have, take such exception to the idea of being portrayed as Jerry Springer trailer park trash, and they keep getting behind Jerry Springer trailer park trash as representative of whiteness. What's up with that? Is that a confession? Is that a confession? So, of course, she has a give, send, go now. Meet Crystal, hardworking white mom doing her job at Cinnabon. 2 Somali customers decide to make her shift hell with intimidation. Instead of banning the offenders and backing their employee, Cinnabon, I just had to pause there. Cinnabon fires Crystal to keep the nons happy. We're not letting this slide. Funds go to making sure Crystal lands on her feet after this betrayal. No white person should lose their job for refusing to be harassed by Somalians. Should they lose their job for harassing Somalians? Should they lose their job for that? So here's a couple of responses. Paul Reynolds, $50. You shouldn't have to put up with this third world harassment. EPS on minimum wage. Hope you have a great Christmas and a much brighter future. And may all Somalians be deported ASAP. Love your white heritage. $20.
I guess these people weren't satisfied with losing 75% of the non-white vote last month. I guess they're gunning for 90, 95.
They're gunning. Yes. Unite as one or die alone. You have been psyoped into hating yourself, your family, your tribe, your people. It's time to wake up. We can unite as a globe while supporting our clan. Blessings and prayers to this woman. Blessing and prayers to all people of white descendancy. Fight. But hey, it's the oldest trick in the book. This is why they spend so much time propagandizing these people into hating Somalis, hating Mexicans, worrying about migrants. Because if you turn all of this rage against the people who've really strip mined this country, you got what? 8 people have as much money as the bottom 50%. But yeah, Somali immigrants are your problem. But channeling it into racism, oldest trick in the book in this country. So again, this is very much like Shiloh. She's not only a racist, but a criminal and a crackhead, like everyone they get behind. It's amazing. There's another one. Charged for endangering children, 3 children, bond amount $4,000, operating vehicle impaired. So I guess she had kids in the car while she was impaired. It's a little unclear from the posting. So now you remember Shiloh here. It's uncanny how much the stats track. She's another one. 2 kids by 2 men, drug and alcohol abuse, evictions, disorderly behavior. She also had an arrest record. People claim she denied this was her. People claim she was also an escort online. So this was in the Shiloh case. You saw a lot of people saying things like this. This is kind of representative. We're going to need to have a little leniency for all whites who grew up lost in a Jewed up world. Our leaders, of course, must be pure, but the rest of us have stumbled in from the wilderness, dirty and stinky. I mean, it's interesting because these people are so into, self-reliance and independence and, you make your own way. And this is an incredible victim mentality, right? I mean, what are you saying? Are you saying that sociological forces define your opportunities and destinies? That sounds like communist talk. It's very woke, right? Are you attributing outcomes to sociological factors beyond your control? Is that
right?
Is that what you're saying here? Wow. And of course, not to mention the fact that if you look at any kind of economic breakdown, white people have it much better than any of the groups that people like this hate. So maybe you have no one but yourself to blame. Maybe you're right. Maybe you squandered your opportunities. Here's now something you'll notice with Shiloh. We don't need to read more of this kind of shit, but she got a lot more money. She got a lot more money. $100, fucking $10,000. 10,000. Shiloh wound up with over $1 million. Now, last I heard, she broke 100,000, but she's not going to get close to what Shiloh got. A lot of steam clearly went out of this. Now, when people, and it says something about human nature. I think at the time that Shiloh thing broke, people still thought that the Trump thing was going to put money in their pocket, that there was something in it for them. So, and they saw the white supremacy as a bonus. Now that there's really nothing in it for them, you're down to the people for whom the white supremacy was the whole point. Right.
Of course. Yes.
Those are the only people still into this. So speaking of funny Somalis, they have the Somali American Public Affairs Committee. We have confirmed from HR Cinnabon she has been fired from her job and removed from this location. Anti-Somalitic rhetoric will cost you. Her racism and disgusting profanity resulted in her to be unemployed during the holiday season. Do not be like this Karen. SAPAC.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, now here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. Here's the fucking punchline. She has a mixed race kid.
Oh, wow.
The same online extremists propping her up are the exact people who routinely attack and demonize women with mixed race children. Maybe that's why she's only getting 100,000. Maybe I'm being too optimistic about the
she
cultural
put that picture
change.
in to give Sengo, so she outed herself.
She has a mixed race kid. How do you start screaming the N-word at people when you have a mixed race kid? Don't you? And you're being filmed, man. That kid is going to see that one day. How's he going to feel that his mother was talking like that to people, man? That is really that's the cherry on the whipped cream. And it is, if you want to look at the hope in all this, this is a movement. I hesitate to even use the term. It gives it more dignity than it deserves. It's full of really, to be as kind as I can be. These people are really mentally and emotionally broken. On some level, you can't entirely blame them. They've been manipulated and channeled into interpreting their problems this way by people who benefit from setting workers against each other. But people, this is not a movement of people who are going to be able to organize around a meaningful political project for any length of time, because it is largely made up of people like Cinnabon crackhead Karen here. Like what kind of a political movement are you going to hold together around people like this? Was this a political movement about making racist white women rich on Give, Send, Go? I'm sure it was very, very thrilling for the boys around the Stormfront Lodge the first time, but how many times are you going to do that?
Yeah, well, it's not a movement about releasing the Epstein files. It's not a movement about disentangling us from foreign wars. It's not a movement about reviving American manufacturing. These are all lies that Donald Trump used to sell this movement to a broader swath of the population, which is why he was able to win 2 elections. But once you abandon all of those other goals and it just gets reduced down to this, that's why this is on its way out. That's why the results came in the way they did last month. That's why Trump's poll numbers look the way they do now. There's nothing left. And, you see after the results came in last month, you saw, some fretting from a lot of these conservative, influencer types about, the midterms are going to be bad unless we turn things around. And now you had Jack Posobiec retweet this woman's fundraiser announcing that she had raised money. He was like very cute about it. It wasn't like when Matt Walsh, the last time that when Shiloh Hendricks had her fundraiser, Matt Walsh said, "I'm glad she raised $500,000. I hope she raised another $500,000." This time, Jack Posobiec just goes out and reports that she's raised whatever $40,000 or whatever it was at the time. Not explicitly encouraging people to donate, but on the other hand, of course, why are you promoting it unless the message is to go ahead and do it? So you have these people expressing concern that their movement is dying, yet at the same time just double and triple down on this. This is why your movement is dying. This is not viable, broadly speaking. It's doomed to fail.
Yeah, I mean, that is the hopeful element of this. You're seeing more and more signs that, on the whole, the American people are not down with these fucking freaks. Most people see them as freaks, losers, and weirdos. Normal people are not down with this.
Right. Of course. Wait a minute. This is news. Wow. This is good. This is a game changer. Sydney Sweeney to star in Cinnabon ad. Wow. That is crazy. Oh, no. Just kidding. Just joking.
In jeans.
That would be bad. That she'd have a big problem there. She's the new face of Cinnabon.
She thought that was a tough interview.
She thought that was a tough one. Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's see. What do we got over here? We got Eric Huso. A lot of Rumble rants tonight. Great crowd in here. 3,000 plus in the YouTube chat. And just about 1,000 over on Rumble. Smash that like button, everybody. Thanks very much for being here tonight. Eric Huso says, "I'm a class-conscious old man. I don't see race. I see hot chicks. Does that make me a dirty old man?"
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. Depends on the circumstance, I suppose. Vienticus Prime, Keaton, I was just making a general observation that offers more evidence, to me at least, to how the divide is fake. Got it. Thank you, Vienticus. Oh, yeah, someone in the chat did correct me. So the lead in the Thin Red Line ended up being the Jim Caviezel character, not the George Clooney. George Clooney was in it, but yeah, Malick re-edited the movie to make Jim Caviezel the main lead, and Brody had like 2 lines. Victor Shakopopoulos says, "Here's what a Cinnabon is. Let me explain it to you. It's a 6-foot-high cinnamon swirl cake made for one sad fat man. It's sticky hot bun that comes with a little tub of jizzy hot syrup. It's hot comb." Thank you, Victor Shakopopoulos. Appreciate that. Vienticus Prime says, "All I'm seeing is our pronouns are better than their pronouns." Stoop Sign says, "I was the only white guy on my shift. I dealt with reverse racism. I should have gotten in on the aggrieved white worker grift."
Seriously.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You missed your chance. Monkey Rotary, do you see now? Racist. Thank you, Monkey Rotary. Shady Deals, they blew the meth budget on Shiloh. Everyone else is getting the change left over from the gas station. Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe it's the same crop of people, and they're tapped out. They gave all their money to Shiloh.
They gave their retirement savings.
Exactly, that was it. They weren't counting on this happening, twice in the same year.
Yeah, they had to go dig the mason jar out of the backyard.
Exactly, yeah. All right, let's take some super chats, shall we?
All right. Eric Maines, if Cash gets cut, I predict a big future for him on Ms. Rachel's show as her new sidekick wizard. Just don't try to get him on camera without his wand and hat. Oh, that would be pretty funny. Cash's Big Adventure. He can be the new Pee-wee. Take a pick. I see similarities between Trump and the mustachioed man. When loyalty trumps competency and good, you get Himmler Hegseth, pure evil and incompetence, like Goring Patel. Yeah, I because the libs kind of ruined the comparison, I try to make the comparison sparingly. But yes, this administration shares the fatal flaw of all fascist regimes, that you wind up with corrupt, incompetent crackpots running it. And that tends to ultimately bring them down. Andy Gardner, the racist Cinnabon looks like my aunt. And Somalis have those funny genes. They're great genes.
That's right. They do have good genes.
They have the best genes.
They have the best genes.
I think what's really coming out of this attack on the Somalis is people are finding out for the first time how funny Somalis are.
Yeah, exactly.
Like who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Yeah.
If you would ask people before, like a week ago, what do you think of when you think of Somalis? Nobody would have said very funny memers.
That's a
best
very
memers. They have the best memes.
That's a very South Park type of plot where all of a sudden, like the comedy writing rooms start getting staffed with Somalis. The Jews get thrown out of the jobs writing for like Jimmy Kimmel, and they bring in a bunch of Somalis to write the jokes. That would be a South Park episode, you know. Like the Red Man's Greed, where the Indian casino gets all the money and they start expanding through the white man's town.
Starvin' Marvin becomes
yeah, exactly.
Charles H. Diop, the YouTube channel Overzealots, did the best two-part debunk of all past, present Z-word talking points. I've learned more than I have anywhere else. Overzealots? I never heard of that channel.
I'll have to look into that.
All right. CCCETYU, protect Candace.
Wow, look at that.
Thank
you. $99.99. What a generous donation. Do you regret not giving it to the Cinnabon lady? Do you think you wasted it on us?
I mean, you could have split it between us.
You could have
still would have gotten a cowbell.
Yeah.
Charles H. Also, a far larger lobbying group than AIPAC goes unchecked, called Kufi, a Christian Zio lobby.
Yeah.
Needs more attention or a tracker for their donations. You know about that?
I've heard of Kufi. Yeah, I've heard of Kufi. But it is true that like they don't get as much scrutiny as AIPAC. I'm not sure why.
I mean, they get so little scrutiny. I never heard of them.
Yeah.
Iranian Kiddo. Adrian Brody was super pissed with Terrence Malick cutting all his scenes in Thin Red Line, except for 2 lines in the final cut.
It's pretty embarrassing to like do interviews on the red carpet as the star of the movie.
Exactly.
And then you're
That's
cut
awful.
Out.
All right. Want to move on?
Cool. Yep. We will move right on along. All right, folks. This is part 3 of the racism trilogy of the evening. There's just a lot of it. You know, we don't make the news. We just report it. So you all know Tommy Robinson, right? The real journalist, as they say, over in the UK. He reports this out: 10 dead as a car is driven into a Christmas market preparation crowds in France's Guadeloupe. It's very interesting how he mentions France's Guadeloupe. Legacy media silence. 10 dead as a car is driven into a Christmas market. Legacy media silent. This has 36.9 million views at the time I screenshotted it. It's far past that now. Here's some video from the scene. So a terrible scene there. This was largely amplified by Elon Musk, big Tommy Robinson fan. That's where it got 33.5 of those 36.9 million views. He says, again. So 10 dead is the report, with the clear implication that this was a terrorist attack. First of all, let's just be clear. For those who did not know, Guadeloupe is here, not physically in France. But yeah, Tommy, let's mention France because it's cool and furthers your cause. So some French islands in the Caribbean. But of course, the thrust of the messaging out of the Tommy Robinsons and now the Elon Musk, who's on a crusade against the EU, is that there's a Muslim terrorist invasion of Europe. And of course, we knew there was the Germany Christmas market attack years back where terrorists drove through a market and killed people. But it's important to point out here that not only was this not an attack, but there were no dead people. Piers Morgan quotes this and says, update, no dead. Driver was intoxicated with drink and drugs. Police say it was an accident. Guadalupe is not in France. Legacy media widely reported the truth. Robinson, the self-acclaimed journalist, silent after reporting lies. So yes, this is Le Monde, French newspaper of record, reports Guadalupe. A car crashes into a food truck, injuring 19 pedestrians, including 7 children. The driver, who tested positive for alcohol and cannabis, escaped a lynching and was taken into custody. So they reported accurately that there were no deaths, not 10 deaths, and they made sure to clarify this was not a terrorist attack, but an accident involving an impaired driver. So into thin air, comments on the Tommy Robinson thing, how is this not community noted? This is 100% false. Now, this screen grab suggests that there were proposed community notes put on this post. Beware of Elon Musk and his Christmas racist disinformation campaign. Not a single person died. The driver was under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And apparently people did try and get community notes published on this post, since they're completely misrepresenting just about everything they possibly could about this event. As of when I prepared this segment this afternoon, no community notes appear on the post. That's either because they were shut down by the man himself, or the people who tend to follow Elon and Tommy Robinson, who absorb this garbage, just don't want the truth to be known. So they'll vote the note unhelpful, even though it is helpful, so that it won't get put through. And yeah, there is no such note on this post. Meanwhile, it spreads far and wide by obviously notorious Zionist here, Ayal Yacobi. Breaking, at least 10 people are dead after a car was driven into crowds preparing for a Christmas market in France's Guadeloupe. Gunther Riegelman got on this. The mainstream media will not report this, and we all know why. Again, just nonsense. Planet of memes. The media will blame the people for celebrating Christmas. Look, Alex Jones says, I predicted this would happen yesterday. Oh, you predicted it. You predicted a guy would get drunk and drive through a crowd by accident. Sadly, a lot more to come. Don't say it's a bad thing or the leftist governments will have you arrested. Wow. Paul Zapula says, another deliberate assault on Christians or an accident? Pray for the families of the victims. So there's a real sleazebag. There's a guy who knows that it was an accident, but still decides, hey, you know what? I'm going to milk this for 34,000 views anyway, because why the fuck not? I'll play dumb and act like I'm not sure. Rob TC says, you know the answer. Now, that's an Elon stan who is suggesting that he knows the answer is it's an attack, when, of course, the truth is the complete opposite. But this is nothing new. Elon has just made his wall basically devoted to, replacement theory and white depopulation paranoia. Constant. Just one after the other after the other. If current trends continue, whites will go from being a small minority of the world population today to virtually extinct. Oh, no. And then he'll go on and he'll say the South African government is super racist against anyone who isn't black. Just the fact it's literally in the news. And this is because Elon wants to get Starlink
literally
into
in
South Africa. Yeah. Wants to get Starlink into South Africa. Funny how they wouldn't want just an overtly racist, drug-addicted Afrikaner doing business in their country. I can't imagine why they would. I can't imagine why they would tell you to go fuck yourself. I can't really imagine why the post-apartheid government of South Africa would say thanks, but no thanks. Take your internet somewhere else. It must be because they hate all white people. Must be because they just hate white people.
Clearly.
So, this is a quick story, but whenever I see bullshit spread that fast, I'm just compelled to do a segment like this, because you really see what their goal is. Their goal is to bring on social collapse through a strategy of tension, through civil war, right? Through civil wars, not just in America, but throughout Europe. I mean, and now Elon is talking about how he wants to abolish the EU. Well, why do you want to abolish the EU? You want to abolish the EU to restrict free movement between nations, to give rise to these nationalist movements within these nations and create conflict and strife between immigrants and people of color and the native white European populations. That is so obviously their goal. And there are no lies too big for them to tell. They will lie as shamelessly as they just did here, which is you take a tragic accident in a Christmas market and disguise it as a deadly terrorist attack, even though that is not what happened. That is not what happened. Why would you represent it that way unless you were trying to cause civil unrest, unless you were trying to cause tension and trying to sow paranoia? This is why I said, like, you know, because I used to be of the opinion that unfortunately the society just kind of has to continue on this trend towards collapse, and then we have to build back from the ruins of it. But once the Charlie Kirk shooting happened, and once you start seeing this kind of rhetoric from these people, you realize, okay, who's actually waiting for that collapse to come? Who's actually looking to do it? Who are the real accelerationists? The real accelerationists are the fascists, because they have the capital, they have the power, and they have the technology to rebuild society in their image. And it is very, very clear here that they are just trying to rip not only the country apart, they're trying to rip the world apart. This is the oligarchs' game. This is what Chris Hedges described as the key difference between the corporatists and the oligarchs. The corporatists rely on networks and networking and relationships, whereas the oligarchs seize upon collapse, because that leaves the population so vulnerable that the oligarchs can basically set up what he calls a toll booth capitalist system. Oh, you want to use the phone? Pay me. You want to watch TV? Pay me. You want to fill your gas tank? Pay me. You want to cross the bridge? Pay me. This is what they want. This is what they want. It's so obvious, and stories like this make it so obvious. There's only one reason you would tell a lie so blatant as that and so outrageous as that. It's because you want the people to hate each other. You want the people to eat each other for you so that you can pick the scraps of the civilization once it has destroyed itself.
That was Keaton's long way of saying he opened a numbers to count that the feds are paying him through.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
to try to support the current regime.
Yeah.
No, look, the thing that the entire oligarchy, no matter what the branding, have in common is to keep workers fighting over identitarian issues. So when the liberals were in power and more ascendant, they did shit like this. There was the guy who shot up the Asian massage parlors, and they absolutely insisted that this was white supremacy, even though all the evidence was it had absolutely nothing to do with that. They absolutely insisted on that. Zaid Jalani, I believe it was, wrote a whole article about how, during COVID, they were trying to say there was all this violence against Asians. There was a very uncomfortable reality underlying that, though. It was mostly economic violence being committed by blacks who lived in the same areas, who had the perception that Asians carried a lot of money and would not fight back. There were this white boogeyman attacking Asians just didn't exist. So what you could ask the same question. What's the purpose? Why were they so insistent? Why do you have these freaks like Robin DiAngelo and Ibram X. Kendi get elevated into these positions? We just spent hours and hours and hours with Chairman O'Malley interviewing him. Certainly a more reasonable person, not someone without a race critique. Certainly, I'm not saying that. He has a valid critique that has an economic and a class perspective connected to it. And that's why you don't hear from him. That is why most people don't know his name. That's why they'd rather have a frizzy-haired, rich white lady telling you about race than to have Chairman O'Malley, who's been in the trenches since the 60s, speaking about these things. The whole point is to sow division among workers. Two different types of trap, two different kinds of mice. You got the white working class this kind of Tommy Robinson thing. Oh, the liberal media is suppressing the white genocide or whatever the fuck. That appeals to them. The idea that every incident that involves non-white people must have a white racism component to it. It's the same point. It's the same purpose. It is to keep workers fighting. They just hit it from two different angles, depending on what audience they're addressing.
Well, sure. They both lead to the same place. I mean, Hedges says that too, because what the corporatists end up doing is just bleeding the society dry slowly but surely. It happens more slowly because they rely on a certain stability, right? So it's kind of a slow drip, right? It's just this hole at the bottom of the boat that just the water just keeps slowly taking on water. Whereas this is just this is really incitement to civil war. I mean, that's what this is. This is really just like all at once. Whereas what the liberals
Elon's a
do
criminal.
is
Elon's a criminal. He should be in prison. This guy should not be walking around loose. The fact that he has defense contracts that tells you all you need to know.
Right, of course. Well, look, I mean, what the liberal strategy for this is to, funnel wealth to the top at a slow pace while censoring dissent, while making excuses about misinformation and hate speech, right? And their message is you should all get along well while the rich just bleed you dry. Right. But be nice to each other because we're all equal. We're all in this together. What is this? This is a sinking ship. They don't tell you that part. Right. That's their message. And the right-wing message is what we're seeing amplified now. It's faster. But as Hedges said, they both ultimately lead to the same place, which is a completely eviscerated, disempowered, I won't even say working class, because at this point, the middle class and the working class are vanishing. To the point where you're basically just going to have mass swaths of desperate, impoverished, immiserated people and a ruling class at the top, which is what they say about communism all the time. That's what they say communism leads to. Oh, the people who are connected get rich and everyone stays poor. Well, what do you think's happening right now? It's happening right in front of your eyes. And the only choices the people get to make are how fast do you want to go and how do you want to feel about it as it happens. It's how are you going to emotionally process it, right?
They're training people to settle for less, to expect less, and to assume that less is what you should be satisfied with. Maybe I'll do this during the week. There's a company in San Francisco. They already set up one of these. They're expanding. The kind of pod hotels they have in Japan?
Mm-hmm.
As fucking apartments.
No,
$750 a month.
Wow.
They're setting these up. They're like
That's
pot.
amazing.
They already have one that was successful enough that they're opening another one now.
Wow.
As soon as I saw that, I said, that's the future.
Yeah.
That's what they want for you. They want people, they want to normalize that.
That's
they
the Matrix,
want you
essentially.
to think like that's I've got a double wide pod.
Right. Well, that's the Matrix, basically. That's what people were in the Matrix. They were hooked up to this machine that gave them this, fake life. And meanwhile, they were just lying in a little pod their whole life. Yeah, that's what that is. I mean, that's a tent city with air conditioning, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Stoop Sign says she probably calls the kid the N-word when he misbehaves now. Yeah, that's some home that must be. Hey, between inevitable calls to boycott Cinnabon and Ozempic, we're going to have the meanest, skinniest, most media-savvy racist influencers out there. USA. USA. Thank you. Freddie X says it's a heavy lift to forgive the white chick's behavior, but it's easy to forgive her rage. She's eating the ass of capital all day, too. Thank you, Freddie. Appreciate that. Furrows Queen says, Keaton, is Sam Harris the one you do an excellent impression of? If so, here's $1. You performing monkey. Give us a rendition. Sorry about the performing
He does
monkey
do
thing.
a very good
That's Sam Harris. Sorry about the performing monkey thing. Sorry about that. Stoop Sign says there was a South Park pirate episode where the Somali pirates admonished the boys for wanting to be a pirate. I didn't see that one.
Yeah, there was, right? That was like a Starvin' Marvin episode.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that
Where
one.
I think they went to Somalia or something.
Douglas Murray isn't taking Russ's opinion on right-wing art seriously if he's never been all the way through Atlas Shrugged. There you go. Thank you.
I have, actually. I have.
Victor Shack, you've read all of Atlas Shrugged? Wow, that's a big book. Victor says, Keaton, now that you watched one battle after another, you may remember the scene when DiCaprio's character was getting stoned and watching the film and was home. Yes, it was the Battle of Algiers. Yep, absolutely. That was the deliberate choice, for sure. For sure. I could have done a much longer review of that, but I didn't want to because we had a 4-hour show that night. So I gave a very, very bare bones review of it. Maybe if it wins the Oscar, we'll talk about it more when it's in the news again. Check it out. Would be a great film night choice. It's always relevant, especially in the Palestine context. What? It's about time you two get out of your English language film's comfort zone. Which one? Maybe we missed a Rumble rant. Sorry about that. But I don't know which one you are referring to. You're talking about the Battle of Algiers? Isn't that really long? Isn't that a long one? I'll have to take a look at that. All right.
But it's like the sorrow and the pity of North Africa.
Yeah. What's the run time on the Battle of Algiers? All right, you want to take some super chats?
Sure.
Oh no, it's only 2 hours. Okay, for some reason I thought it was a lot longer. Okay.
Black Atcha Production. They voted to be racist, not poor. Exactly. Yeah. But the only way to not be poor is to hurl racist slurs at non-whites.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, as they realize they're not going to get the not poor part,
right?
You're left with the real hardcore racists now. Jim Talib, super sticker. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Dimitri Mugianis. Louis Ferdinand Celine is one exception that I could think of. Great right-wing artist. I love the show Solidarity from Harlem. Solidarity from Harlem. I do not know his work. So, okay.
The only guy I could think of is David Mamet, but all the great stuff he wrote was when he was a commie. And then when he went right-wing, his plays went to shit.
Now his stuff sucks.
His stuff is absolutely unwatchable now.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, one more. Vilma Thomas with Einsatzgruppe like Pete and Narco Rubio in Trump's policy. Never mind Epstein. His administration is destined to fail. I mean, it's failing already. It's just a question of what the damage is going to be.
Right.
How severe the damage is going to be. I mean, honestly, today, it's exactly 1 month I am leaving. 1 month from today. And being gone that long with the way things are accelerating, like I'm really worried that the country's going to be very noticeably more fucked than it was when I left.
Possible. Certainly possible.
Things are getting scary here, man.
All right. Let's go. We got one more.
All right. One more before we close the lights. Israel cleared to stay in Eurovision. So there was a lot of speculation that under boycott threat, maybe they would exclude Israel from the Eurovision competition this year. But they did not. And the boycott threats are being fulfilled. The Netherlands, Ireland, Spain, Slovenia, and Belgium so far, with other countries possibly joining later this week. Trita Parsi tweeted this out. This is how Spanish TV announced its withdrawal from the Eurovision contest over Israel's inclusion in order to make it crystal clear why it has made this decision. On Wednesday, Iceland will decide whether it will join the boycott. This is pretty base. So this is what Spain put out to announce its boycott. We blurred out the explosions. YouTube doesn't like that.
Spanish national television withdraws from Eurovision after Israel's presence is confirmed. The organization keeps Israel in the competition after it has killed at least 70,000 Palestinians, continues to attack and kill civilians, even now during a ceasefire, while being investigated for genocide in international courts.
go, Spain. And there was also, this is a Due Dissidence exclusive here. The Spanish delegation actually burst into the offices of the BBC to demand they withdraw. Here's that footage.
I didn't expect a kind of Spanish Inquisition. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Pretty based, man.
Yeah,
Pretty
there you go.
based. Kicking it old school. So speaking of based, Bjork, probably the only really famous musician to ever come out of Iceland. She backs the Eurovision boycott. A little bit about that. Bjork shared on her social media today an appeal from Icelandic singer Pal Oscar urging the state broadcaster RUV to withdraw Iceland's participation from the upcoming Eurovision due to Israel being allowed to compete. The call comes after Ireland, the Netherlands, Spain, and Slovenia also announced their boycott. Quote, the fact that Israel can participate now after everything that has happened shows that the EBU, that's the European Broadcasting, I forget what the U is for, is a coward, unable to set limits. We must not be cowards. Boycotting is the best way to set boundaries for war criminals, Pal Oscar stated. The Icelandic broadcaster is expected to make a decision next Wednesday. In the meantime, RUV's chairman, Stefan John Hofstein, expressed disappointment over the EBU's decision to include Israel in the competition. In Iceland, representatives for Eurovision are selected through the Songvakeppnin singing contest, usually held in spring. So one of my favorite things about this job, trying to pronounce things that we just have never seen
That's a
before.
tough language, yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one. All right, so this is from Zay Squirrel. Europe is so cucked and owned by Zionists that they would rather have actual European countries like Spain, the Netherlands, Ireland, and Slovenia not be in Eurovision than block the genocidal Israeli death cult, which is not even in Europe, from using it as propaganda for itself. Yeah, that's something I've always wondered. Why the fuck is Israel even in Eurovision? I thought it's supposed to be
Middle
a
Eastern.
European. Yeah, aren't they?
I thought they're
Aren't they
native.
Middle Eastern? I thought they're not European.
I thought they're indigenous to that land.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
indigenous to the Middle East.
Yeah.
So he shared this video, which actually is from a year ago, but it's a very good summation. So I tracked down. He shared a link in the comments, so I tracked down the original source. Verily Bitchy made this video that sums up pretty well the situation with Israel and Eurovision.
Israel stands accused of committing genocide in Gaza, having killed 25,000 Palestinians, including 10,000 children in the last few months. Eurovision said, hey, it's no big deal. Israel can still participate in Eurovision because this is a competition for broadcasters, not for governments. Interestingly, that's not how Eurovision treated Russia, who was banned almost immediately after the invasion of Ukraine. But now Eurovision is going out of its way to separate the Israeli broadcaster from their government. Eurovision reckons the broadcaster has nothing to do with the genocide, even though the Israeli national competition, the contest which decides who Israel is going to send to Eurovision this year, has included military propaganda. They also posted a song about annihilating Gaza and its people that naturally has been described as genocidal. Well, gee, that all sounds terrible, but hey, it's not like they're going to bring any of that propaganda to Eurovision, right? Well, when Israel hosted Eurovision in 2019, they erased any mention of Palestinians, made it impossible for Palestinians to attend the competition, scolded Madonna for promoting peace with Palestine, fined a contestant for holding up a Palestinian flag, and showcased illegally occupied Palestinian territories as belonging to Israel. And they weren't even subtle about the fact they were using Eurovision to improve Israel's international image.
I know just what you heard, that it's a land of war and occupation.
But we have so much more than that. You see the prices, you'll say, what?
Okay. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. There's a stereotype of Jews being money obsessed merchants, and you put into your head, you'll see the prices and say, what?
You can't make it up.
But you'll see the prices, you'll say, what?
It's all of that we see.
And all of the European broadcasters were complicit in this settler colonial propaganda. The BBC, RAI, Ruttersloh, everyone, and not just in Europe, all over the world, even though the rules state that you cannot instrumentalize or politicize the contest. But Eurovision has always been a great way for countries to brand themselves and gloss over their crimes. Israel, as a settler colonial project, as an apartheid state, needs the moral and material support of the West, and they have to continually lobby for that support. They need countries like the UK to support their violence, and we won't mind sending them more bombs to kill civilians and bury children under the rubble as long as we can see how cute and progressive and fun they are. Even if by some miracle Israel doesn't use Eurovision to explicitly push further propaganda, given the banning of Russia a few years back, Israel's very presence at Eurovision becomes a message to the world that we are totally fine and okay with the murder of 25,000 people and counting. We're not okay with the murder of Ukrainians, of white Europeans, but we are okay with the fact that Israel has made Gaza the most dangerous place in the world to be a child.
Okay, so that video is about 8 minutes. It's great. Definitely worth checking out. That's the beginning of it. So Elon Levy tweeted this out. The real reason Spain is trying to exclude Israel from Eurovision, showing the wins of Israel in Eurovision. I think they've won 4 times. Unka, an account I've become very fond of, responded, the real reason Spain is trying to exclude Israel from Eurovision, showing bombed out, flattened Gaza. But he wouldn't let it go. Elon Levy, another one. You are Ireland. Failed to reach finals 11 times since 2004, including 7 of the last 10 finals. Twice finished last in finals in 20 years. Haven't won in 30 years. Stormed out in a racist hissy fit because you can't bear losing to Israelis. ESC Tom responded, we are Ireland. 0 genocides committed. 0 babies murdered in self-defense. 0 ethnic cleansing campaigns. Voted that food is a human right instead of starving children. 0 journalists murdered to hide our war crimes. Also, won Eurovision, a record equaling 7 times. Yeah, I forget what the other country is. I think it's Sweden. It's like a country you wouldn't think of that ties that. I'm sure there are people in the chat who will know. So from Adame Media, this is the kicker. Eurovision had to change the rules because Israel cheats. Israel is the only state whose government covertly paid for Eurovision influence campaigns across all countries. This is the first time this has ever happened. They always cheat, literally every single time. So and he brought the receipts on this. An investigation by Eurovision News Spotlight has uncovered evidence that an agency of the Israeli government deployed cross-platform advertising and used state social media accounts to directly target and encourage the public in participating countries to vote for the Israeli entity in the Eurovision Song Contest. So that was 2025, so they updated the rules this year. The Eurovision Song Contest is changing rules around voting and promotion following the controversy caused by Israel's results at this year's competition and allegations of interference by the Israeli government. This comes after several countries requested an audit after Israel topped the public vote of the contest in May. Israel finished second in this year's competition once the jury votes were taken into consideration. The European Broadcasting Union, that's what it is, which runs the music extravaganza, said that the changes ahead of next year's edition in Vienna were designed to strengthen trust, transparency, and audience engagement. Yeah, that makes sense because given the climate, I don't know how they wait between the judges and the audience vote. I can't imagine a lot of people would be voting for Israel such that it would come in second. It doesn't really add up. So, to address the question of why you would boycott the country, a lot of people talk about this. Well, it's unfair to the people in the country. They're not responsible for their government. There's a lot of people say you shouldn't do cultural boycotts, although, as that video pointed out, they didn't hesitate to do that to Russia. So if it's not political, why isn't Russia in the competition? But this is great. This is a conservative network in England, LBC, and they got a caller from South Africa, one of the whites who survived the genocide.
South African, and I would like to really share that boycotts, the question is always asked, do boycotts work? And these cultural boycotts, sports boycotts, etc. I grew up under apartheid. And we were boycotted as a country, rightly so. Boycotts worked. Every one of us growing up in South Africa knew that we were not accepted as a country, not as individuals, but as a country, because our laws and our actions were unacceptable from a global perspective.
That's it. Exactly. That's what you got to do. Everybody, FIFA needs to boycott Israel, which thus far they have not been willing to do. You're seeing more and more around the world that Israelis are not being accepted at hotels, not being accepted in restaurants. That's what has to happen, man. I remember the apartheid era. That's what happened to South Africans. And nobody said, oh, my God, that's racist. Except maybe Ronald Reagan didn't like it. But most normal people thought that was completely valid. This is why the more the world takes those actions, the louder they scream anti-Semitism, because they know once that shield is completely gone, they're fucked, because they're committing a genocide in certain parts of their territory, and they're committing at best ethnic cleansing in other places. There is no other definition for what they're doing. Very much like with Nazi Germany, when the full scale of what the Israelis have done really comes out, there's not going to be any place on earth that they can hide from justice, and they know it. This is why they're so determined to maintain their fascist apartheid state, because the other option is to face justice. And that justice is going to be, I think, pretty harsh when the whole truth comes out. We're seeing more and more reports, enough that I feel confident to say it's true, about the way they've trained these dogs in the prisons. I'm not going to get into it, but most of you probably know what I'm talking about. I never even heard of the Nazis doing anything like that. Somebody said in our comment section that Pinochet did that in Chile. But how sick of people can you be to even conceive of something like that, much less to do that to people? Is why they're so determined not to lose this propaganda war, which is lost already. They seem to be the last ones to know that. But Eurovision, that's a disgrace. And people in Europe are planning on boycotting it. There is a big boycott movement going to get people to not watch it. And I would imagine it's going to be pretty successful. I don't get the impression that the European people support Israel at this point any more than the American people do.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to FIFA, when it comes to Eurovision, it's a no-brainer. I mean, these are public competitions that are, reliant upon the goodwill of the people who patronize them, on the audience. I mean, it's a public presentation where inclusion in the competition is a tacit endorsement of your state as a member of good standing of the international community. Like, that's different from, like, do I think someone from Israel should be denied service at a restaurant? No, I don't think that should happen. Because that borders on, like, discrimination or what have you. But when it comes to like something like this, where you're talking about inclusion is a tacit endorsement of the state itself, is a sort of way of signing off on the existence of your state as it exists in the world and as it conducts itself? No, absolutely not. Of course it's a fucking disgrace. Would you include Nazi Germany in a global singing competition? No, you would not. Like, no. Like, that's all you have to, that's it. Like, that's the only question there is. When you ask a question about should Israel be accepted in X sphere, you ask, would Nazi Germany be accepted in X forum? And if the answer is no, then there's your answer. There's your answer. Does that mean I think every German person should have been discriminated against across the globe? No, but that's not what this is. This is something very, very different from that. And it's a no-brainer, and it's really shameful. I mean, there was a question for a long time whether Eurovision would just say, you know what, you're not welcome. You're too toxic. And the fact that they didn't, I think, is going to bite them in the ass. And FIFA too. FIFA too. I mean, the world is clearly
they're losing
on one
a
side
lot of
this.
legitimacy. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let's go on to let's do before we end the show, we got to do some more Rumble rants and super chats. I'll do a quick read for Rumble Premium. Haven't done that in a while. Here we go. Let's get that started. So, folks, if you're looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content without ads, get the Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month when you sign up before December 31st. Normally a $29.99 value. With Rumble Premium, you'll get an ad-free viewing experience across all your devices and access to exclusive premium content. No interruptions, just the videos and streams you love anytime, anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every day. Save over 30% on this powerful bundle. So that's an AI bundle plus ad-free Rumble presentations. Head to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign up and unlock your premium experience. Okay. Alrighty. There we go. Okay. Let's go to some, let me take some super chats first. Do we have any left? Oh, yeah. No, I started these two non-super chats.
Yeah,
Love
I was
Sigur
wondering
Rós.
why. Yeah.
Well, Sigur Rós is an Icelandic band. Love Sigur
I
Rós,
see.
and then Bustelo Maserati says Sigur Rós is great if you like hearing a moose yodel. I'll give my verdict on Sigur Rós. My verdict is thumbs up, enthusiastic thumbs up for
Yeah,
Sigur
I don't
Rós.
know them.
Great band. I mean, they're not a huge.
I am just saying, as there,
right.
Bjork was a legitimate pop star.
Yeah, Bjork
I
was
don't
a
know
star.
of any other
Yeah.
Icelandic pop star.
No, for sure. Bjork was a household name. Sigur Rós is not. But they are a terrific band. And actually, Jonesy, the lead singer, put out a great solo album, I think, in like 2009. Speaking of all this, I am going to start my music podcast, I think, when Russ goes away, because it'll give me something to do. Because we're not going to be able to talk that much when he's away, because they're going to be on different sides of the world.
It's a different world now, man.
Yeah.
Like I said this when I went to India. I felt more remote when I went to England when I was 19 than when I went to India a couple of years ago, because the world is just so tied together now, man. Like you still have your phone hooked up to the world. You have the same video services. You have the same social media. Unless you ditched your phone, it's just impossible to have the same sense of like being away that you would have had at one time. You're never really away. Like your kind of reality bubble kind of comes with you with this. It's weird.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we could talk on like WhatsApp and stuff, but the time zone is going to be a little confusing. Although not that bad. Not that bad.
Not
It'll
that
be
bad.
a little bit of it'll take a little getting used to.
A little bit. It'll be night for me. It'll be morning for you.
Yeah, there you go. It's not that bad. All right.
Or the other way around.
Yeah,
because I'm ahead, so
You're
it'll be
ahead.
morning for you. It'll be night for me.
Right.
But then
But then it'll switch.
Yeah.
Because it'll be night for
Exactly.
me and morning for you.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Andy Gardner. Elon is a prophetic, rocket-loving African on the spectrum. 21st century Forrest Gump. I don't know. He's a 21st century something. Alex Rosinski. From what I remember, the winning country hosts the following year. It would be hilarious if Israel wins this year and then nobody shows up in 2026. Yeah, I look, man, it's a little out of our wheelhouse. Like Eurovision is one of those things like soccer that Americans just don't know shit about. That's a huge thing over there. From what I can tell of public opinion, not only would I be shocked if Israel were able to win, I would be shocked if Israel doesn't get booed when they perform. I would be very surprised.
Didn't they get booed last year?
Pretty interesting.
Wasn't there that video? Didn't they get booed last year or the last time they did this? There were like two videos. Yeah. There was like the video of the dress rehearsal where they got booed, and then the video of the performance where they got booed again. I'm pretty sure they got booed twice. All right, Vienticus Prime says, some water just spilled onto my kitchen floor. I'm sure it has nothing to do with my glass tipping over. It must be from a terrorist attack. Thank you, Vienticus Prime. Hope you're safe out there. If you're getting the next step, Keaton, you want to use the eyes you were born with? Pay me. You want to use the lungs you were born with? Pay me. Exactly. Yeah, good call. Professor,
I've been getting this question. I'll be doing the show except for when I'm in China. Right. I'll be doing it remote. There will be certain days where it doesn't work out, but I'll be doing it in general, except for that month. Well, yeah, probably like 35 days. So it'll be like 5 weeks. I'll be in China.
Yeah, so he'll still be doing the job, but we'll probably. I mean, we'll see. I mean, like I said, as long as the time is not like too. There'll just be certain hours of the day where the other guy will be sleeping. That's all. But yeah, we'll be doing the show. The show will go on. Where are we here? Easy for you podcasters to say, says Professor Brown. Note in your air-conditioned offices. That's right. All we need is our pods. It should be a good podcasting city, San Francisco. Dudes, Battle of Algiers is awesome. Aguilo Pontecorvo, Italian Marxist director. Thank you, Mark Pugliese. Monkey Rotary. Don't worry, Russ. When you come back, it'll be a white-topia. Vienticus Prime says, I'm still floored over seeing an ad for a Black Friday deal on a vacation to Israel. Wow. All right. That is our show. We thank you all very, very much for being here. Forrest Gump says, Andy Garter, we got you. Thanks for being here. You have Taibbi. So, yeah, that'd be fun. I have Kern. That would be fun.
That would be the best.
That would be the best.
That would be a legendary episode.
That would be a great episode. That would be really good. Have Kern come on and co-host. That would be funny shit. That would be funny shit. So, what did NPR write last night that ruined your week that you haven't been able to shake? NPR ruined my Easter. They ruined my Easter. All I want to do is look for eggs. You're telling me I'm a racist. All right. So, hey, thanks to Jake in the booth. Thanks to everybody for being here. Very much appreciate you all. We are going to a Q&A in just 5 minutes. Russ, what do we have for intermission today?
Today, Nazis.
There you go. Nazis
on the intermission. Nazis at the center of the earth.
Nazis at the center of the earth. DudeDissidents.com /
and also a very interesting video about self-reliance. Like a nice philosophical video.
All right, there we go. All right, so got a nice mix of things for the intermission. That'll be 5 minutes. DudeDissidents.com / Rumble is the link. Everybody is welcome to come and hang out in the chat and watch. Patrons, paid Substackers, and paid Locals members are, of course, welcome and encouraged to call in. So we will see everybody there after a 5-minute intermission. If you're not sticking around for the Q&A, we will see you back here Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Until then, thanks very much, everybody, for tonight. Thanks to Jake in the booth. Thanks to the mods for keeping the peace in the chat. We'll see you next time, whenever that may be, 5 minutes on Rumble or Tuesday at 1. Until then, thanks again. Be safe and be well.
Courage!
Please clap.